have like over 200 consoles. So yeah, it's
200
a little bit crazy.
consoles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's me plus. So he's the Glenn Gresham plus.
My wife would
He's
shoot me.
got
She thinks
more
I have
games.
too many now, and I have like 20 of them right now.
It's
Yeah.
all
Well, John
My
got,
my Star Wars
John got
my Star Wars
consoles,
collection is more
you got the
insane.
games.
But say again.
You've got none of the consoles. You have tons of games. You have almost some complete collections or close to it, right?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, the complete collections I have are like for AAA, like the ones that have like smaller libraries. But yeah, I don't have like I'm not like a John Hancock or anything like that that has like crazy. I probably have like over 2,000 games in my collection.
That dude got some serious stuff. John
Yeah, he
Hancock.
does.
He's insane.
Yeah, I've seen his collection. It's insane. It's good. He's a good dude.
Hey, what's up, Gunther?
Hopefully he never has to move.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
he's still trying to
boxing
get
mode.
his museum going. So, and actually, he's taking it on the road. That collection, John, has he gone to your shows with his collection?
He has not. No,
Not yet, anyway.
not yet. Anyway, yeah. I imagine logistically, it's probably pretty tough to move those games.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna get this shared out. So we're live Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, the website, Roku, Fire TV.
Yep.
You guys name it.
Where's the link, Glenn? Can you send me a link? I'll share it out as well.
Sure.
I think I just tagged Gamester81 on it, so you should, if you
good.
check that.
On Twitter?
No, on Facebook.
Oh, Facebook.
He's like, darn, Facebook. Nobody uses
Gross.
That's freaking Facebook.
Do you notice the face he made when he said it? He's like, Facebook?
Yeah.
Really?
Ew.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean it. I was trying to solicit Billy Mitchell last night. He was on Twitch playing. And I know I know Richie was talking to him, but I thought, I'm going to beat Glenn to this one. I'm going to try to see if I can get Billy. But he was getting his butt handed to him in Donkey Kong.
Oh.
Who was
really?
getting his butt handed?
Billy, he'd get to like level 3, and then he like
Right.
he'd die, and then he'd just let himself die out, and then he'd start all over again. My wife goes,
No.
"How many times are you gonna watch this guy die?" And I'm like, "This is Billy Mitchell you're talking about." She's like, "I don't care. He keeps dying."
Must have had an off night.
I don't see the tag, to be honest with you, as far as on
Okay.
Facebook. Sorry.
No, that's right. Glenn, you want to send him the? You want to send them the link?
And which link do you want me to send? You want to send one for your YouTube channel?
Whatever you want.
Yeah, whichever's easier for him, because if he doesn't like
Sending it
Facebook,
now.
go to YouTube. We usually have more people on YouTube anyways. I'm sharing it out to all the
Sending it right
groups
now.
right now.
Oh, are you? Okay. Then I will stop so we don't double.
Oh, were you
Double
doing it?
book.
I'm sorry, Doug. Go ahead, Dan.
That's okay. All right.
So I only did the Legends Secret Society and I did the At Games one. So if you want to do the rest of them, go for it.
Okay, gotcha.
That way I'll
Hey,
stop.
John, you should have just got an IM for that one.
Last week we didn't share it because we got too wrapped up with everything, and I was like, dang it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
No, I didn't pick on him on Twitch. He did block somebody. Somebody kept giving him crap because he kept dying, Gunther. And they're like, banned. I wouldn't do that. That's just disrespectful. I'm not gonna nail it. But I was surprised because I watched the documentary like everybody else, and he was doing very well. So he must have had an off night. And let's see here. I see everybody over here on YouTube. You see Disability, Sean Powers.
What the TV show was, wasn't it? Sean Power. Or
Awesome.
the Powers of Matthew Starr. One of the two. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's all about
It
powers.
sounds like a TV show.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. 200 consoles. Are you like Glenn that has like 5 of each one, or what?
Ooh.
Most of them are unique. I mean, some of them are like, N64s that are multiple colors, but I'd say 80% of them are unique. Just really random stuff like the Bandai Apple Pippin and,
The Pippin.
random stuff that people, yeah.
If I can trouble you real quick to just tip your camera down just a little bit, because otherwise the lower third's going to go right through your mouth and people are going to.
How's that?
That looks good. Yeah, we'll do
That's
that.
good.
Because then I'll adjust.
Very good.
Let me adjust him on the 4 shot here, then I'll bring us back. to make sure he's represented well. Come on now.
My office is a bit of a mess.
It's all right.
Oh, we're familiar with clutter. Don't worry.
Yeah. You're
Just-
talking to the kings
just-
and queens here.
Yeah, just look at Glenn's setup right there. There's tons of clutter. And your camera's crooked again.
I fixed it. Are you sure?
Okay. We'll leave it alone. Do you
I
get
think you're messing with me.
what do you guys think? Do you think his camera is crooked? Let's get a
A yay or a nay?
let's get it. Yeah. What do you guys think in the chat? Is his camera crooked or should we leave well enough alone? Wolf Nas
Glenn
says
for
hi.
scale.
Glenn, how do you like the one-ups?
You know what? They're good. I like them better with my controls in it. So it's always better.
Yeah.
No bias.
His floor's crooked. All right. We'll leave
You know, it probably is.
we'll leave Glenn go. Wolf Nas, I think that's how you say it. Wolf Nas says hi to you, Gamester.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, you know, if I fix the camera, everything's gonna be
Just
like 10 times worse.
yeah, it's fine. Just leave it be. You know how I see it, Glenn? If you look at your ceiling, and
Yep.
then your Zaxxon looks somewhat good, yeah, but look down at your arcade one-ups. They kind of go uphill behind you.
Well, that's just how they're designed.
Okay. Well, as long as it's designed that way.
He's got an auditorium floor that slopes down, and it's got stadium seating back there.
Almost had a
Got to
fade.
get the floodwater to go in one direction.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh
I
my
have had
goodness.
floods.
floods. Oh, man,
Twitter.
imagine.
What's that?
I'll try to tag you guys on Twitter. Tech Buzz.
Yeah, it's the Tech Buzz for me, and then Glenn. What's yours? Glenn Show.
Yeah, Glenn at show. Or is it show at Glenn? I don't even
Show
know.
Glenn. I usually just type Glenn and it comes up.
Computers, I don't know.
Let me
Just-
double check for you, Glenn.
Yeah.
Just put in Glenn Plemento. I pop up like a weed everywhere.
Glenn what?
Planet Tomato, Plantamento Loaf.
All right, I'm gonna
You know,
follow
something.
Gamester so that way he knows where mine's at. So I just followed him on Twitter. Yeah, does people still use Twitter? Like I did it for the tech stuff, and it seemed like it died off.
Well, I think they're tweeting more than they're Facebooking.
Well, that's fine. I mean, if you all are using Twitter, I'll start using it again. I mean, I'm big on Instagram and Facebook because I thought that's where everybody was at. So
I thought MySpace is the one where everyone's at, no?
yeah, well
Yeah.
that's a second.
Friendster.
That's a second. That's a second.
The Friendster.
Yeah, no, I gotta check. I don't know. I could be show at Glenn. Glenn at show. I really don't even know.
I mean, Uncle Doug here, you know. I'm gonna call you that on the show. I'm gonna be like, so we got my Uncle Doug here.
Uncle Dougie.
Uncle Doug. I serious. When I heard that,
Glenn, yours
I was like-
is show_Glenn. That's your Twitter.
That's what I
handle.
thought. So simple.
I'm following both of you guys, but Glenn and Doug and well now Gamester, but I'm like, I don't pay attention to what your handles are. It just says Glenn Plantamento or Glenn's Retro Show.
Planet Tomato.
Planet
That's
Tomato.
it. Planet Memo.
Planet Memo.
Eminem
Planet
says,
Gamo.
says not using Twitter, reverting back to the Little House on the Prairie days.
Oh, there you go.
It could happen. It could happen.
All right, guys, we're gonna get this show started here, and we're gonna go dark. So, guys, bear with us. We'll be right back.
The Retro Buzz starts right after this.
Hey guys, it's Friday, so you know what time it is. It's time for the Retro Buzz, and we've got a great show lined up for you today. But first, I want to introduce the panelists that we have today. We've got Mr. Glenn Plantamento from YouTube.com/ no, not TurboGrafx 16, Glenn's Retro Show.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's true. Yeah.
Uh-oh, the war is gonna start already. We've got with us Mr. Doug Smith from Cool
Hello,
Toy.
hello. Pleasure to be here.
And before we introduce our special guest, I gotta say, last week people were asking, Glenn, you said, how did it work? The TurboGrafx 16, because I can't even hold a candle to our guest. He's got like 200 consoles. But getting the TurboGrafx 16, I've been streaming a lot of games this week, getting it on Twitch. I'm kind of excited. I got both bonks, really awesome. But I played the Saturn just as much as I played the TurboGrafx 16. Does that make you cry?
No, the Saturn was another console that was very underappreciated, like the TurboGrafx 16 was, just like even the Virtual Boy was. My point is that these consoles get such a bad rap out there, and people don't even play them. If you play them, as you can see for yourself, you're like, wow, these are really good. That's the point I'm trying to get across. It took a couple of weeks for it to happen, but that's what I really wanted you to see, that these consoles that people give such a bad rap to are not only not bad, they're excellent, as you're seeing for yourself.
Doug, what's your response to this?
I love how he's sugarcoating it.
I defused him. He can't do it.
Yeah.
He can't say nothing. I
He's gonna
defused him.
gloss. He's gonna gloss completely over the fact that he claimed that the TurboGrafx was far superior to the Sega Genesis. He's just gonna omit that from the record completely.
Oh no, I still believe that from a technical standpoint, graphic engine, it is point blank. CPU wise, not necessarily, but
All right.
graphically.
So let's get the opinion of our guest today. We've got joining us John Lester, as you guys know him, is Gamester81 from Gamester81.com. Welcome, sir.
Welcome.
Oh, you're muted there, bud. I think you might have accidentally muted. Well, because we didn't introduce him right away, so I think he just muted it right quick.
Oh.
Sounded like he was getting.
Hi, I want to say yes. Glenn's correct.
No,
TurboGrafx
he's not saying that.
superior.
I think he just it just muted. All right, he's gonna work on that.
See? The Sega Corporation of America literally just cut off John from answering the truth. That is proof right there.
We had John a little bit. John, whenever you get your audio back, just jump in. In the meantime, Glenn, why don't you talk about your project while we get John back with his audio that you got. Oh, there we go. We got John.
Here we go. Johnny's back.
Well, my Yeti mic is not working for some reason, so I'm on my internal. But how's it going? Good to be here, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's great. It's great to have you. So you got to settle this discussion. So the last couple of weeks, so let's set the stage. Doug and I both pre-ordered, and Glenn finally got around to doing it last week, the TurboGrafx 16 Mini.
Okay.
Doug has been on the waiting list for a year. He pre-ordered a year ago. I just did it back at the end of January because of Doug. It's all his fault.
Yeah, and thanks for making me order it now. I could have got it from Japan tomorrow.
Well,
and I gotta wait.
okay, all right. Before we
Guys.
before we get in that, so Glenn's trying to say that it's more superior than the Sega systems that are out there, and he wanted to know if I played the TurboGrafx more than the Sega Saturn. Which one is more superior in your opinion?
In my opinion, you can't compare the two because it's apples and oranges. They're way different. Now, if you were to compare the TurboGrafx 16 to like the Sega Genesis, that'd be one thing, or the Super Nintendo, or the NES, that's one thing. But the Saturn, they're both great systems. I love the Saturn. I love the TurboGrafx 16. It's hard to compare the two though because they're totally different systems.
Doug,
So let's compare it to the
Wait
Genesis.
a second here. I never said that the TurboGrafx was better than the Sega
Yes,
Saturn.
yes, you did.
Never said that. I said Genesis, my friend. Never
No,
said Saturn.
now he's
He- he
backpedaling.
did
System. You smoking
did
crack.
narrow it.
You're smoking crack
Glenn-
today, and you got to stop.
Glenn,
I
did
do
narrow
believe
down
I do
TurboGrafx versus
agree with Glenn though. I do believe that the TurboGrafx was totally underlooked and underappreciated. So it is a good system, and those who played it will enjoy it. And I'm excited for the Mini. I pre-ordered mine a while ago, like you guys, and I'm still waiting for like you guys are. But hopefully, it will bring a new spotlight to a great console.
Well, and I will say this, and you guys can add to this or not. Right now, P-Dubs announced it last week when he came on. He said about, like, you can order it from Japan, you can get it tomorrow. I know Patton Plays, he got his already. Nostalgia got his already. Glenn, you said. If you order it from Japan,
Mad Little Pixel got his.
you could pay $11 and you can have it in 3 days. Apparently, that's the cost. So
Interesting.
if you didn't pre-order it yet, and you weren't stupid like all of us that seem to pre-order things and not get them until way after the release, you can go do that and get it. But I did want to bring something up that I thought would be good discussion for the three of us. What I'm noticing more and more, that the two underrated systems, if you count the Dreamcast, the three underrated systems, they're the most rarest, hardest to find games and systems, and the prices are through the roof on these systems that nobody wanted back in the day. Glenn, why? Why?
Well, because again, you got to think of when the TurboGrafx 16 came out, right? They were touting it as a 16-bit console, and it's not. The CPU is an 8-bit and an enhanced NES processor, but it's got a 16-bit graphic engine. It had great support in Japan, but as we know, Nintendo had a stranglehold on people on this part of the world, so they couldn't release the same games that they could have and showed it was superior than the NES. So that hurt them in one respect. The other was just the 90s being the 90s. The marketing was you know, it was the 90s kind of marketing, and it didn't really help them. But the console itself, it's actually a really good console. Hardware-wise, graphically, sounds, and the games. A lot of the games from Japan, if you can get them. But there's still good ones in America. Like, here's a prime example right here. I was showing it before. Ys 4 never came to the States, but I've actually got a patch to make it English. Fantastic game. Never made it here because it basically stayed in Japan. There was a lot of games like that. So the same thing is going on with, like, the Dreamcast. Well, kind of different what happened with that one. But these machines, people are realizing, you know what? There's articles in Electronic Gaming Magazine, or my friend who had a Sega Genesis and NES said it was garbage, so I didn't buy it. But now when I'm seeing it and playing it, there's good games, and now there's not that many. It's hard to find them.
They are.
So now the hunt's on.
I agree.
Do you want to add to that, Mr. Doug? Because you and I, neither of us grew up with this. We never. Everybody had Nintendo, so we all.
I'm old again. Thanks.
Sega. When you borrowed games, we didn't go out and rent games. At least I didn't. I always borrowed my friends. Like, I'd trade them. Like, here, you take this for a week. I'll take this for a week and play it. Nobody had a TurboGrafx 16. Was that the case with you?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I purposely never grew up with anybody that I knew that had one. Going to the video stores to rent video games and things like that, I never saw a shelf or even, anything TurboGrafx 16, Neo Geo, just a lot of these more rare, obscure home console systems. They just didn't get any love, at least in my part of the country. So I was never exposed to it. I missed out on it completely. My only exposure to these systems were seeing them in video game magazines like Electronic Gaming Monthly, like Glenn said. But I think a lot of why we're seeing the prices go up is grassroots campaigns from people like Glenn trying to drive the prices up, overhyping these things and trying to make them seem far superior than they really are.
I think another reason why they're expensive because there's not as many out there, right? Everyone had an NES, right? Not many people had a TurboGrafx 16. To your point. Now, did you guys have anyone, or did you guys know anyone who had a TurboGrafx Express, like a Turbo Express? That's even more hard.
I had one, and the girlfriend stole it. It's gone. It's in Montana at this point. It's history.
I have a fake one
that
right
thing
now.
was way ahead of its time. I mean, that was so cool back in the day. Still even cool today. But that's super cool technology back then.
So I hacked my Vita because obviously they stopped. I did like a soft mod where you can keep it and it keeps everything still stocked so you can play games. I have Nintendo, Sega, and I have TurboGrafx on it, and it plays. So I was stoked with that. I was like, this is awesome because it's bigger, better screen than what the Express is, but $350. And some people are saying the caps aren't lasting in them and they have to be recapped.
Well, anything from that generation, you're going to have to recap. It was just the 90s were notorious for bad caps. So if you have anything from that generation, you're going to want to do it, because if you don't, those caps are going to leak. They're going to corrode. They're going to eat the board, and then you will have nothing but a shell.
And it's not bad. $55. Some guys I've seen that they're recapping because
that's good.
I seen a couple guys that were selling them for $175, but they need recapping. And every time I go to buy it, it sells really quick. So if you guys see
Right.
one, buy it. $55.
But another
to
thing
recap.
too to remember, people do these recappings. A lot of times, especially like the Turbo Express, they're surface mount caps, and a lot of times they do not cap it with surface mount caps. They use standard caps and they bend them over, and that puts a lot of strain on the motherboard. So if someone's going to be recapping it for you, make sure if it's a surface mount cap, they're putting surface mount caps where they're supposed to, not using standard through the hole caps on those spots. So of course, I'm the kind of guy who uses that. But if you're paying for it, you want to make sure you're getting it the right way, not the Glenn way.
That's a good point. I know the audio is a big issue too on the Expresses too. They tend to go out pretty common.
Now, do you have one? An Express?
Yeah, I have an Express, and I have the PC Engine equivalent as well.
The GT.
Yeah, the GT. Yeah.
Glenn, he's just one up.
Yeah,
he
there
just
was-
one upped you.
Oh, he's one up me in a lot of areas. I can't
You
compare
got plenty of one
myself
up
to
behind you.
Gamester.
So
Yeah, I
you
got
got
those
plenty of
one
one ups
ups.
behind you.
But the one cool thing I'll say about with Sega, but it kind of did in Sega, it didn't necessarily do in NEC, who was manufacturing, was that Hudson Soft had NEC as a partner. And NEC was a very big electronics manufacturer. I mean, Sega was a game company, but NEC was a big computer manufacturer, all these things. So they did the Turbo Express, the Turbo GT. Then they had the PC Engine. I forgot what they called it. It was actually the PC Engine with a screen that came up on top of it. They had all these different type of designs. And they had, of course, the very first CD-ROM unit was the PC Engine and the Turbo Graphics, very first one.
Right.
And then they had the one that was built in, the Turbo Duo. So they had all these different technologies out there. And like Gamester said a moment ago, that Turbo Express was way ahead of its time because not only was it a portable unit, but it was a portable unit that took the standard game cartridges, which of course it started doing other things, but the screen that was used in there was light years ahead of what they had in the Nomad, the Atari Lynx, the Game Gear. There was no comparison. I think Gamester will agree with me that that screen in that thing was far in advance of the rest.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Show that box again if you don't mind, the TurboGrafx 16 box. I want to mention something. I don't know if you've noticed it before or not. Does that not look like Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell?
Yes, I thought that
Very
too.
much.
You know what?
Very
It's
much.
totally Zach.
It was a couple weeks ago. I think I seen the box for the first time because I was trying to get it because nobody has a box of it. And Glenn showed it, and right after the show, that was immediately what I did. I went look. I'm like, dang, that looks. Is that really him? Is that the guy that played Zach?
No, it's not.
Mark-
It's a
No,
doppelganger.
no.
It's a doppelganger, but it looks like him.
Wow.
Stunt double.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, we said about you having multiple consoles. For those that don't know who you are, John, why don't you tell a little bit about you and what you do and why you couldn't settle this argument? Because Doug and I thought we had you on our side, but apparently that's not the case.
It's like picking your favorite child, man. It's hard to pick your favorite because
There you
know,
go.
the Saturn it's a little younger than the even though it's kind of old. But no, for me myself, I had a YouTube channel. It's Games31. I started about 10 years ago now, and I just basically got a camera when I got married my wife, and my parents gave me a camera and trying to do some research on consoles at the time, and there really wasn't much information about these consoles, and just started doing filming and doing some research and talking about these consoles, and that's how my channel kind of grew from there. So it's been great, man. It's been a great ride. And back 6-7 years ago, I became co-owner of Collector Vision Games, which is we make homebrew games and new games for modern consoles as well. And then 2015, I started a gaming expo called Game On Expo out in Phoenix, Arizona, where I live. So I kind of wear multiple caps. I'm a big Star Wars guy as well. I collect Star Wars figures. My Star Wars collection is actually bigger than my gaming collection, believe it or not. So that's my first
And
love.
you have a
But
YouTube channel. You also have a YouTube channel for that too, correct?
I do Star Wars Nut 77, and yep, on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff for that too. Yeah.
But at least he's a smart
So-
man. He's a Star Wars collector too. So at least
Yeah.
One of us. One of us.
But yeah, with Collector Vision Games, we started making ColecoVision. That's my first love, honestly, is a ColecoVision. And talk about an underrated console. That's my
Oh, yeah.
number one underrated console of all time is the ColecoVision. So there's some really. I'm a big arcade guy. I know you guys are big based on what I'm seeing behind you. I know you guys are big arcade guys too. So if you haven't played a ColecoVision, definitely check it out. There's a lot of great ports for the ColecoVision. And so that's how I kind of got connected with those guys, because long story short, I made my own ColecoVision game called Game 31, the video game, and got connected with JF and Toby and became co-owner of the company. And we've kind of, since I've joined, we've expanded to NES and to Sega Master System, to Atari 2600, to the Switch, to Steam, etc.
And I have this pulled up right here. I mean, you're still producing these games for these older consoles.
Correct. Yeah. So we are the only, to my knowledge, we're the only company I know, at least in the Americas. I'm not sure quite in Europe, but that own an actual ColecoVision cartridge mold. So we make them in house. We everything's original. So like this is our new City Hunter Caverns of Death for the Super Nintendo. Those are original molds. So we don't recycle any old carts or anything. The only situation where we actually did that was for the Sega Master System, because there's just no molds out there for that. So that was a pretty limited run that we did there.
I'm gonna see if I can pull that up there. Because you're low stock on that right now. So let's see if we can pull that up.
It crashed our site. I was shocked on the demand for this game. It crashed our site twice when we put them up. Our site got crashed. So
absolutely,
yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of demand for a Sega Master System, and that's another system that Glenn, to your point, with Nintendo having dominated the market. You go to countries like Brazil and Europe, and there's a lot of great ports for the Sega Master System. I mean, I have like Street Fighter 2 for the Sega Master System, and I have, there's Golden Axe Warrior, which is a great adventure game, almost like a Zelda clone. So there's a lot of overlooked games for that, but unfortunately, in North America, the system was just non-existent because Nintendo had dominance in the market share.
So they're saying in the chat.
It's so weird. It's so weird because they did have such a monopoly that Atari started a class action lawsuit, which they would have won easily, except Atari did a couple things shady behind the scenes that kind of made it go the other way. Surprising, Atari did something shady back then, but they basically went to the patent office to get information on their NES lockout chip. Okay, so they basically said, we have a lawsuit going on with Nintendo. We need this stuff for our, to go with the lawsuit, which was not the case. And they got all the schematics on the lockout chip and reverse engineered it. And of course, they went and had the lawsuit. The lawsuit found that they did this. And then, of course, they ruled for Nintendo. So Atari ended up paying Nintendo when they could have won $100 million. They kind of paid the other way.
Yeah.
You sound bitter, Glenn.
Well, back in the day,
because, John, go.
Go, Glenn. Yeah. Sorry, I was going to make a point where when Nintendo was first coming to North America, and their first test market was New York, right? Nintendo actually reached out to Atari to actually help, publish and produce the NES.
Correct.
And Atari shot them down. Atari shot them down. So I'm sure if they had a time machine, they're kicking themselves. It's like one of those situations with Nintendo and Sony with the PlayStation. It could have totally changed history as we know it for video games.
Correct. And Nintendo did at the time. People don't realize, especially kids today, that Nintendo in the late 80s to early 90s was nothing spectacular. And Nintendo knew that. Atari still was a huge world phenomenon in name. So they did approach Atari, and Atari, being Atari at the time, who they were basically trying to almost, I don't say rip them off, but they were trying to get everything and give them very little. And if anyone knows Nintendo don't play that game.
Right.
So it didn't end up working out, and Atari blew a huge deal. And a lot of people don't know that Sega was going to do the same thing in certain markets with the Genesis. And again, Atari was stupid. It didn't take the bite. And well, here's Atari today with the VCS that'll never be out, or if it is, who cares?
Or the hotels that are coming out.
Right.
Yeah. But I think that's cool though that independent developers and stuff are making games that for these old consoles that guys are still buying and collecting. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we do something unique where we actually cross-port games. So when you program a game for the ColecoVision, it's totally different programming than for Super Nintendo, right, or a Genesis. In many cases, you got to change the sprites, you got to change the colors, the graphics. So we, Caverns of Death, for example, City Hunter and the Caverns of Death, it's already out for the Super Nintendo. It's pretty much getting really close for the NES. Genesis is we're working on. We have a port for. There's also City Hunter called City Hunter and the Sacred Tribe, which is already out for the Commodore 64. We produce it for the that's for floppy disk, and cartridge, Commodore 64. Sega Master System. We're working on an original Game Boy port of that game. So it's just really interesting to port these games to like all these different platforms. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but we do it for the love of gaming and just the love of these retro consoles.
So the question is, with the stock getting low and sold out, is that something you guys are going to replenish the stock of, or once it's gone, it's gone? You're not bringing it back.
For most games, we like when we do like a ColecoVision game, we probably do maybe 100 copies of a game. I mean, they're really pretty limited. And in most cases, we don't do more. But I think in the case of the Sega Master System, given that there was so much demand, we just got to restock on some shells, get some new shells, some donor carts and stuff like that. But I think we do plan on making some more copies of that game.
Even like the Super Nintendo consoles ones too.
Super Nintendo, we made them, and we won't plan on making any more. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
we want to be sensitive too because I mean, we still have copies available, but we want to be sensitive to the fact that people bought this game, and if we keep making more and more and more, the value gets less. So
Yeah.
we got to be sensitive to that too. So
And another thing too is, they're making these old games, but these are actually very quality games. I have some CollectorVision games myself.
oh, thank you,
So
thank you.
the programming on them is very important. Some of these like ports are excellent. I mean, they have some arcade ports on there for like the ColecoVision that are just excellent. And it's actually, when you look at it, number one, it's hard to believe someone was able to squeeze that out of that 8-bit CPU and the
Right.
VDP and the ColecoVision. It's amazing. So the
Yeah.
programming is key, and that's why people do want to buy these games and play them, because the games are good.
Yeah, yeah. We earlier this year we released a new console. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. It's called the CollectorVision Phoenix, and it's an FPGA HD ColecoVision console. So we'll play ColecoVision games. It also has a chip in it, so it actually increases the memory and the graphics, so it actually looks more equivalent to an NES game, quality game. So
Wow.
really excited about that. We did the first batch. We already made them. We released them, shipped them out, and we're working on a second batch as we speak.
Wow. Doug,
And it's even more so. That also has the Super Game module built in, correct?
It does. Has a Super Game module built in. Yep. Yeah, it has this
Right.
an adapter for Super Nintendo controller in case you want to use a Super Nintendo controller, because
Right.
ColecoVision controllers are very clunky and unreliable.
and Doug, I
Right.
think
So
and
is
it,
this-
and it looks like a small. It looks like a small ColecoVision as well. I mean, the Phoenix is actually a really, really nice console. If you like those older games, and the ColecoVision had an expansion module for the Atari 2600, so you have to purchase that. That's also built in, so you can
Right.
play 2600 games, ColecoVision
Right.
games. And it's just a really nice console. You guys did it. I was years working on that, right?
Yeah, it's been years. Yeah, it's open source too, so there'll be other builds. So right now you mentioned the Atari 2600. There'll be other ones too, I'm sure, in television. It has an SD card slot, so you can play ROMs on it too. So, but pretty limited. I mean, the first batch we only did like 750 of them, and probably only do
They're
about
gone.
750 for the second batch as well, and that will be it. 1,500 total. So pretty limited.
and Glenn has half of your stock, because that's why everything. That's what I was gonna say to
No, he
Doug.
does.
Yeah.
All these
But to
limited
get
runs.
those molds for those, it's not cheap, right? I mean, we
Right.
don't have much markup on the system at all. We just make it just because we have a passion for the system, ColecoVision, and we want to just expose it to more people.
Hey Doug, can you read the comment in there from Shelton Sims in Facebook
Oh,
that he has
gotcha.
for John?
Yeah, it says, John, how long is it taking to process orders for digital content on the CollectorVision website right now? I purchased the CollectorVision Vault ROM pack early this morning, and it still says status equals processing. I know COVID-19 is slowing things down, but I received the download link almost immediately last time. Sydney Hunter on the Commodore.
Okay, good question. I don't have an answer for that, to be honest with you. Toby, who handles all that, would be the guy to ask. But I'll tell you what, if you can have him shoot me an email, it's just or just send me a message on Facebook. My email is just john.lester@gamester81.com or at collectorvision.com. I'd be happy to look into that and get you an answer soon on that. But I imagine to be soon if you just got it this morning. So, okay,
Cool.
good question.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just make sure you guys are tagging Glenn, myself, or Doug, or even John, so he can go back and look at it later.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes we're watching 3 different chat rooms. Like right now, if somebody can find the link to the Japanese TurboGrafx Mini, I know that's kind of what we talked about before. Somebody in the Twitch chat wanted the link. So if you could post it in one of the other chats that I can grab it, throw it in Twitch, that would be fantastic. But make sure you highlight us so we could see it pop up. I know YouTube has super chats, and I know you guys are always good with that, but sometimes we don't always see it, and you don't have to do a super chat in order to tag us. We just want to make sure we see a particular comment that's coming through.
For sure.
So going.
So John, oops, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was
Going
just
on. I was saying,
going
going
to ask
on.
John, you're a man with many hats. You got, the convention, you got the game development side, and then you got your personal collection. How do you divvy out your time for your passions and your work?
Yeah, and I have a full-time job on the side, and I have twin boys that are 6 that I watch and happily married. So, yeah, it's a good question. First and foremost, my priority is my family, right? And then goes my day job, and then kind of, not to push things aside, but it would be my YouTube channel and Collector Games and everything else. So to answer your question, I am a night owl. So once my kids go down to sleep, that's where I focus and put my YouTube hat on, or I'll put my Collector Games hat on, or my Game on Expo hat on. Normally this time of year, I'd get really busy with planning Game on Expo, but given the COVID-19, it's a little challenging, to be honest with you. So we're trying to, the event's not till August. So I'm hopeful that by August things will clear up. So I'm just kind of, right now I'm putting a hold on that until I know more, to be honest with you. So that opens up more time for Collector Games, which I've been really focusing on, working with Sony on the PlayStation 4 port of Curse of the Mayan, as well as with Microsoft with that port for the Xbox One.
Nice. So what would be the hardest struggle from the planning and convention side of things, COVID-19 aside? What's something that the casual person that attends these type of things doesn't realize is going on in the back end?
It's a lot of work. I mean, we're going on year 6 for this, and I think marketing is probably the toughest thing, although that's what I do for my day job. I'm a marketing director, so that helps a lot, just given my background. But letting people know about it, obviously, is going to be really important. I think offering an experience, right? So, with Game On, it's a little bit different than a lot of other shows, in the sense that it's not just geared for retro gamers, but also has an esports element to it. It has an anime element to it, live music. So there's something for everyone, right? So our goal at Game On Expo is to provide a family-friendly experience. We don't just want a swap meet where you can just go and buy games. That's cool and fun, but we want something interactive where people can go to tournaments and do that, and or they can live music or go to an auction. So whether our core demographic, to be honest, is probably the casual gamer. I mean, we have things for the hardcore gamers, certainly, but we want to reach out to the soccer moms and those kids and the families, because let's face it, 85 to 90% of the gamers out there are probably casual gamers, and I think if you can get those people in there, that's gonna be key.
Absolutely. Just trying to be all inclusive and trying to broaden your
all
scope
inclusive.
as much as
Yeah,
possible.
we don't want a situation people feel like unwelcome or uncomfortable. We want something to have fun. And on the same note, we want people who are hardcore gamers, because we don't want to forget about those guys, certainly, or gals, and we want them to have fun too.
Excellent.
With the TurboGrafx 16.
I knew he was going to.
TurboGrafx 16 with big neon sign up front, for sure.
I knew
we might change it to
do that.
Game on Expo TurboGrafx 16 Expo. I'm actually
There
thinking
we
about
go.
changing.
Goal!
Just rolls right off the tongue.
It just rolls so nicely off the tongue, for sure.
So we're getting a lot of great comments here in the chat room. Somebody actually said that the gentleman's name is My Family. That's the name of it. He said, "Wow, this is one of the most interesting guests I've seen on the show. I'm very impressed." So kudos to you there, John.
Family. Thank you.
So
Now, John, how long have you been doing the gaming expos for?
2015 was the first year, so we're going on year 16. So for the first 2
how-
years,
and how-
we were go ahead.
I was saying, and how has it expanded? How from when it started in 15? How much has it expanded out from there?
First year we had maybe like 1,500 people, 2,000 people, and this past year we had close to 10,000 people. So it's really
Wow.
it's
that's a
really
lot.
grown.
Wow.
And so trying to, we get growing pains like anything else when you expand fast like that. So just trying to make sure that, with that many people, that we have enough space, that we have enough content. Shout out to my support team. I certainly don't do this myself, right? I mean, I need support. So we have an amazing crew that work tirelessly to make sure that we put a great event on for everyone.
that's insane. P-Dubs.
Let's hope this year makes it.
Yes, amen to that, man.
And that's
Amen to
in
that.
Arizona, right?
It's in Arizona, yeah. August, which I know everyone's like, oh, it's super hot, but we do have a thing called AC here, which is helpful. So it's not like it's an outdoor thing. So initially we did it because during the winter time and springtime, those are really heavily booked things this time of year, in Phoenix. So things can get really expensive to book hotels and everything like that. So that's why we do it in August to try to save some money. But so far it hasn't really affected people going to the show at all, which has been grateful. But my heart goes out to shows like Portland Retro Gaming Expo, which I know they canceled their show this year, Midwest Gaming Classic. There's so many good shows out there that have been put on hold because of this virus. And I realize in the grand scheme of things, there's more things to worry about, people's health, and I totally understand that. But my heart still goes out to these showrunners. It's hard.
It's very hard. Well,
it is, because a lot of time gets put into getting it ready, and then for it to flop out like that, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'm hopeful that maybe by the end of May we'll have some more clarity as far as what's going on with the certain situation, with COVID-19. Hopefully things will start. Let's put it this way: if things are still this way in August, then we got some bigger issues going on.
Really.
That's the least of our issues. So.
Yep, that's why all the games are in the bunker. They're all safe down here.
Right.
From the apocalypse.
Absolutely.
All here protected.
Absolutely. For sure.
So what arcades? I saw Sabo was in the chat room, and he said that he helped with the graphics on one of your arcade systems. If I'm understanding him correctly, unless he was talking to somebody else, but I thought he said he helped with one of John's arcades. So unless there's another guy named John in the chat room that I kind of caught it.
Interesting.
Off.
I wonder what game he's referring to. Maybe it was I don't know. I'm curious what he's referring to.
Okay.
John's got a couple. I know John's got a big heart for Donkey Kong. I know he's got a Donkey Kong cabinet there.
Do you really?
I do have a Donkey Kong. I have a Donkey Kong cabinet, yeah. And I have D2K built into that as well. So I got like a Comic 2-in-1. Let's see. I have Star Wars is my favorite. The Atari Star Wars arcade. The Vector Graphics one, 1983. I have one of those. That's probably my favorite one for sure. A Neo Geo.
I remember the Neo Geo one. That was the bowling alley. It was the only place I ever saw a Neo Geo arcade was the bowling alley.
Yep.
Yeah.
Several years ago, my church they had a couple arcades. Yeah. Several years ago, I was at my church had a couple arcades, and they were actually going to give them away for bulk pickup for the city to pick up. And I'm like, "What are you guys doing?"
Whoa.
And so they end up giving me. I ended up giving them like $20 for each because that's all I had on me at the time as far as cash goes. I picked up Simpsons arcade, 4-player Simpsons.
Nice.
And NBA Jam TE 4-player, and they both look great. I paid like $40 for both of them combined. It was crazy.
What year was this, John? What year was this? Do you remember?
Probably 2-3 years ago.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Man.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Oh,
good for you.
Kudos to you.
Good for you. That's all I can say.
Dump.
And Sabo's.
Yeah, they're just gonna dump them. I'm like, what are you guys doing? So I give them enough money to basically transport to my house down the street, and we're good to go.
They delivered them to you too?
Yeah, they delivered.
Oh my goodness!
What a happy accident, man! That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. I felt like winning the lottery,
John,
man. It was awesome.
John, what are those guys doing with those big boxes, John? Oh, nothing, honey.
Well, that's the thing. I'm running out of room in my house for these because they take up space, as you guys know. So
Yeah.
Well, you got 200 consoles that probably line the one wall like Glenn's there. Wait, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Do you have them in plastic baggies too, like he does?
I don't, but I don't have them in plastic baggies. I do dust them weekly and make sure they're in good shape. So
I was watching.
I hate nothing.
My wife put on the show during the week, Adrian Monk, and immediately I thought of Glenn with his arcade stuff, putting things in the baggies and having to wrap them and put them on the shelf. And
Well, another thing you got to do when you put them in baggies, you got to suck the air out. You got to suck the air out. You got to
Vacuum.
You doing that with a
Nice.
straw or?
I am doing it with a straw. That is correct.
Wow.
So Sabo says Sydney Hunter was the one that he helped with the graphics on, apparently.
Oh, okay. Right on. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, for the arcade. Okay. Yeah, so that's currently that's a one-of-a-kind custom arcade. That's a place called Starfighters Arcades here in Mesa, Arizona, locally. I have it on display there. People can play it and enjoy it. So yeah, thank you for the help on that. That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. So you actually have it
Yeah.
set up as an arcade game, and you have it in a location that people can play it.
Yeah, let me see if I can send you a picture of what it looks like here. If I can look it
Yeah,
one up.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we created a one-of-a-kind arcade it plays. It's a PC, but it plays like an arcade. You got joysticks and buttons and everything.
So I know
So
we.
was it
Turn it
a
off.
fresh cabinet or was it a donor cabinet?
Fresh cabinet guy. Guy cut it. I mean, this guy amazing. He did. I have a Ducktales cabinet too. He did the same thing. He basically cut everything by scratch by hand. It's pretty amazing. I'll send you guys some pictures.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So I was
Definitely.
messing with John a little bit before the show and pre-show, and I was like, I had a bone to pick with him because I see everything on his site except for a Sega Genesis cartridge. So I wanted to kind of ask this on live only because of this. Is it difficult to remake these in the fact of the Sega's Genesis is kind of like a harder one to port, or is it just because it fits better on some of these other consoles? How does that work? Because a lot of these guys, they don't know, just like I don't
Yeah,
know. Is
so
it difficult?
it's a great question. I'm not a programmer, so I wouldn't. I'm not the right guy to ask. But from my understanding, the same guy who did the Super Nintendo port is doing the Genesis port, right? But he's got a lot of other games he's working on for us at the same time. So I know that's kind of been put on the back burner, to be honest with you. But we are
Okay.
working on a Caverns of Death port of the game, and it should be out, if not this year, early next year.
I just wasn't sure if it was something like an iPhone versus Android, because a lot of times things get on the iPhone and iPads and everything, and not so much on Android because there's
Yeah.
so many different versions of Android, Glenn, that you can't really develop for stuff like
It's
that. It makes it
better to have
difficult.
options than not.
All right, here we go at games. Got to have options.
But yeah, so I know the Super Nintendo for us has been the most challenging platform to program for.
Wow.
You don't see many new homebrew games for a reason for that platform, because it's just there's not many tools out there available. Like with the NES, you see a ton of homebrews, right? Where Super Nintendo was not as developed, and you think it'd be it's more advanced, you think it'd be easier to program, but there's actually more limitations right now on the Super Nintendo than there is for the NES.
Wow.
So big sprites being one of them. Like we created a really cool lava boss for Caverns of Death, right? Like huge, took up like 2/3 of the screen, and it wasn't programmable for the Super Nintendo. So what we ended up doing was we ended up putting in the Caverns of Curse of the Mayan game for modern platforms. So we just recycled them.
That's good, at least.
Is there any
Yeah.
plans maybe to do even a Nintendo 64 now that you guys kind of got the Super Nintendo down, or anything like that?
Nothing in the works for that, to be honest. Yeah, but good question. We don't have any plans for it right now.
Cool.
Has there been a
We actually
console
need a
port that
port.
you guys have
We need to
tried?
send a port for. Oh, sorry, Doug. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, has there been a console port that you guys tried and started with and kind of realized maybe you bit off more than you could chew, whether it be, programming, or it just didn't have enough support? Was there something that you guys had started and had to back away from because of limitations, whether it be physical or, even legal?
Super Nintendo was definitely one of them. We had a game called Tiny Night. No, I was about to say Shovel Knight, but it was Tiny Night. And that project's been on hold because what we wanted to do for that, just not able to do it with the programming limitations. But for the most part, we've gotten really lucky. We've got really skilled programmers, and when there's a will, there's a way. So we usually find a way around it. So
Awesome.
all right, how do I
That was
send
actually a really
pictures?
good question. That
in,
was much better than my question. That was an excellent question. Good job,
how do I
Doug.
send pictures in this chat? Is there a way to do that?
If you actually just put it in if you're in the YouTube chat, if you or you could send it to Glenn on Facebook, and if Glenn can send it to me. I don't know, because I don't know if
Okay.
you and I are friends. I'd send a
I'm
request.
always the middleman.
Well, hey,
Okay,
I'm
Glenn, I'm gonna send it to you right
trying. I'm
now.
trying.
Look,
People.
I got you on one side. I got Doug on the other side. I am the
Listen,
pinnacle of a middleman.
do you know why? Do you know why we do that? It takes Doug and I to contain you sometimes, especially when we
Yep.
start talking about Star Wars. You get people mad at us.
Oh well, listen. We
Yeah.
could talk about that later too. We got John here, man. So I'm all set to get on the Star
Oh,
Wars.
here we
bandwagon.
go.
All right, Glenn, I just sent you some pictures of the Cine Hunter
Yes.
arcade cabinet. I just sent, but these were designed by Sam. He lives in Colorado, Denver. I think he moved to SoCal. A good friend of mine, and he does these all from scratch. It's amazing what he does. You'll see the detail here. It's pretty amazing.
Actually, this is really good. Wish you guys could see it right now. This thing's actually pretty cool.
Well, if you send it to me, I can pull it
It's
up
really
on the
nice.
screen so everybody can see it.
I'm working on it. But I'm
Well,
I'm
that's
all
right.
I
That's
see.
right. Wait, he
Joe
has
did a nice job here.
a
I think
PC.
I've seen it. Because was it made by Rewind by Design?
Yes, Rewind by Design,
Okay.
Sam. Yep.
He's made a
see,
Zelda, a DuckTales.
Doug's seen it. You
yeah.
don't need to see it. Doug's
Yeah,
seen
it's
it.
great. You need to see it because this guy does amazing work. If you're
Yeah,
not
the
familiar
DuckTales
with
I
it,
ended up buying from him as well. I'll send you a picture, see if I can look up a picture of that too. I'll show you. The DuckTales turned out really well too. And that just plays using the NES console.
yeah, he has created some amazing works. Like I said, Zelda. I think I've seen an Oregon Trail one from him. They all have that classic,
Yeah.
or at least the ones I've seen all have that classic Nintendo arcade shape. And he
Right.
just goes out of this world with the details and little intricacies, the things that he's able to kind of like bring across for these arcade custom builds.
Right. He
Sorry,
does
I
it all
was
by
looking-
scratch. It was amazing.
Looking at the chat room there. I know Glenn.
They are
Glenn
on
has
their
a
way.
Glenn has a PC, so it takes a while to copy, to paste, to do all this other stuff instead of drag and drop like you can do on a Mac. So, just saying, Glenn. Look at Mr. Monk.
They're there, man. Why is it? Come on, you have a Mac. Why isn't it up already? I sent it to you.
Where did you send it last week?
Pony Express.
My goodness.
Then you should definitely have it already.
What did you do? Send it snail mail?
Ah,
All right, Glenn, I sent you another one too here.
All right, so here they come.
Yeah.
They just kind of cruised in there. So this is the
That's the City Hunter Curse of the Mayan, one of a kind arcade. That skull lights up. It's hard to tell in the picture, but it lights up red.
no,
You turn it
Oh,
on.
that's awesome.
oops, gotta go the other way. There we go. Another shot of
That's
it.
beautiful.
now, John, when you're doing all these ports, to kind of piggyback on the awesome question Doug asked, and I feel bad about it, kind of. Is there
No,
a
you don't.
machine you guys want to port to? I don't. It's true. Is there a system you did want to port to, and just you want to do it, and maybe you will do it eventually? Is there a classic system that you want to do one on, but you just haven't gotten to it yet?
TurboGrafx 16 certainly is one.
Nice.
One of my good friends, Kyle, has been working on a City Hunter game that's kind of been exclusive. It's kind of a unique game, and he sent me a ROM probably a couple months ago of TurboGrafx 16 to check out, which is cool. So I think Neo Geo would be a platform we'd love to do like a game for.
Metal
like
Slug.
big cartridge.
Metal Slug.
And then I think N64 would be a cool one. I'm not familiar with too much how the homebrew scene is for N64. I know there's a lot of the games I've seen, the new ones coming out are usually games that have been like unreleased prototypes that have been like kind of finished, but I'm not aware of any like new N64 games to my knowledge.
Can
I
you
think it's pretty limited.
port one? I have an Atari Pong console.
Oh,
Can
here
we
we
get a port
go.
for my
Do we get
Pong
a City Hunter
console?
Pong? Yeah, we could probably change
Yes.
like the dot to like maybe an S and just call it Sydney, and then just we could have like the whips.
Nice.
I don't know. We could figure something out.
Only Glenn. You always got to bring that Pong into here.
Well, it's a great console. It's where it started, my friend. Right at the
That's
beginning.
true.
Well, Glenn, I'll tell you what we can do. We can just do like an overlay, City Hunter overlay on your TV, and you can just play Pong, and we'll put like a City Hunter overlay on your
Oh,
TV, and
even
then we'll call it a day.
Yeah, I could play
Even
with my
better.
Magnavox Odyssey, the original
Yeah,
Odyssey.
there you go. Yeah, perfect.
Nice.
Don't encourage the guy, will you? So
But
let
it's
me
true. John said he was going to make it. He did. I have it.
let's do this real quick, and then we'll get back to this. So, guys, I know you all have been asking about the shirts and everything. We finally got something set up. We've got cups and everything else coming. I have a company working on that right now. But if you go over to the techbuzz.net/store, you can see the really cool non-punch in the face Mike Tyson picture of Glenn on the front of the shirt. As Glenn made me change that like 50 times till we found a shirt or a picture of him for the shirt that looked really good. I will tell you, coming up here in, I think this weekend, or it's next weekend, one of the weekends,
Those are cool.
they're going to be on sale. Thank you. You guys can get it the front and back. So if you want to get them, you can get whatever color you want and just change it here. I actually like that one. Doug, I think you got the green one, didn't you?
I did that one. Yep, that's the one I went with.
Yeah.
Is that like Arch Rivals marquee kind of? It's hard to see on the.
No, so it says the Retro Buzz right on the marquee.
I know, but like design kind of looks like Arch Rivals a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Was that intent? No, it's cool. I like it.
The font
We,
definitely leads it.
I
I
just
see what you're saying there, Don.
Yeah,
There is no plagiarism here.
No, there's no plagiarism. I just noticed something though too, that Glenn is also in the middle on that one because he wanted to be front and center because his logo's so big. He wanted it like this was his requirements.
Yep,
he had to
right.
have it right there.
Oh yeah. Look,
Every
you signed the
every week.
contract. I didn't tell
Yeah, I
you to
was
sign the
about to say.
contract. You signed the contract. You got to abide by the contract.
Every week before the
Not my
show
fault you
starts,
didn't read it.
Glenn sends us his writer with this list of demands and everything that we have to get in the show.
Special sparkling water. You
Yeah.
know how hard it is to get water, bottled water, sparkling at this time to get to Glenn?
Hey, again, you should have read the fine details. Just don't sign everything without reading it. Don't be like Cartman on, South Park. You got to read. Oh, Kyle, you got to read the entire
Terms and conditions.
At least
Yep.
he didn't say toilet
That's it, terms
paper.
and conditions.
I mean, we would have been in
Yep.
trouble if he would have demanded that. But anyways, guys, you can go check that out. We've got some cool cups like this coming. They're not going to be camo, but they'll have this is my other brand. But they'll have these nice Yeti-like cups that'll have the Retro Buzz on it that you guys can get very inexpensive. The company that I work with, because they partner with me for some of the other outdoor stuff that I do, hunting and fishing, that makes some really good stuff. So that's coming. So you guys will be able to get that. I think they're like $16 or something. I mean, you guys know, if anybody's familiar with Yeti is like expensive, and this does
Top
the
of the
same
line
thing.
stuff.
It does the same thing because I have a Yeti cooler and I have one from this company, and they both hold ice the same amount of time, except one.
I think you
will
guys should
break the
do like a branded toilet paper roll and make it like a sandpaper
See?
toilet paper. Like so that that way
There
it's,
you go.
it's like sandpaper. I think it would really do well.
Yes, there's
Custom
black
grits.
shirts.
Well, I'm sure they'll put my face on it.
Well, that was the idea.
Blender. There we go.
That's the
Yeah.
idea.
I mean, if anyone's going on, we assume you want your logo on it front and center. So
Wait a second.
Yeah, there
Of
you go.
course.
We could put it on with Glenn without his hat and say, "Look, you can use this and put hair on Glenn every time you go to the bathroom."
There you go.
Oh,
That's maybe too much.
cold, man.
that's too
Cold.
much.
You thought it was funny though.
Now I have a serious question. No more of this poop talk. No more-
Okay.
Get out
All
of
right.
the toilet.
All right.
I want to ask John. I've known for a while that ColecoVision is his favorite console. But what, I guess, aside from the ColecoVision, what's his most rare favorite console that he has?
3DO.
Now, is it the Panasonic, Gold Star, Sanyo? Which one?
Well, I have all three versions of the 3DO in my
Oh,
collection,
see,
but-
guys, I just
So, but I probably play the gold. I probably play Panasonic the most, the one that opens up tray out, the first model.
right, the original.
Yeah. I was just playing that the other day actually. Just there's so many good games for it. I mean, there's a lot of not good games for it. Don't get me wrong, but there's some good games. Crash and Burn is a really fun racing game.
Gex.
Yeah, Gex, another good one. Yeah, Street Fighter is another good port. Street Fighter 2, that is. Yeah, there's some good ones.
And what's good about that one, guys, there's no copy protection on it. So
Right.
basically, if you get a disc, you can play it on it. And as a matter of fact,
You can
I'm
burn it.
hoping we'll have Trip Hawkins on an episode this year. So I'm working out those. He's got a
Yeah.
contract. You think I got a contract with you two? Wait to see what I got to go through for Trip Hawkins.
I'm glad
Get
you're
on there.
handling that
Right.
one.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, question for you
I'm
guys.
Glenn, I'm in your corner. I like the TurboGrafx. It's a lot of fun too, man. It's a great console overlook. But so is the Saturn. So just want to throw it out there. I like the Saturn too.
What?
Now, what did you feel about the 32X?
That was a good.
The
That's a good
32X,
question.
for me, the games that stick out for me are like the Star Wars, arcade. I really like that one. But I could never, growing up, get mine to work like attached right because you had those metal slats you had to put into, time out, and it was just a
Those
pain in the
those
ass.
prongs are the biggest.
Yeah,
Finger trap.
right.
Get in.
Finger trap.
Yeah, right. So
cut
like
you
when
more
I
than they do
could
anything
get
else.
mine to work, it was great. I enjoyed it, but it's just one of those situations, as you guys are aware, that Sega of America really wasn't communicating very well with Sega Japan, and it just they burned a lot of bridges. That's why the Saturn, I think, got not the Saturn. Yeah, the Saturn got overlooked when it came out.
Right.
So
Well, actually, I
Bring a
think
lot of bridges.
Sega of America and Japan were talking just fine. Just America was like, we're not having this. And Japan's like, yes, you are. And you're like,
yeah,
okay, fine. We'll market it. Great. We'll do a great job,
Yeah.
guys. Don't worry.
I do. I was playing the 32X the other day, and NBA Jam's actually a pretty good port for the 32X. If you guys ever played that, pretty good
Yeah.
home port.
And you know what I found interesting on that, John? Because
Yeah.
in that type of game, there's scaling. The 32X has a lot of games of scaling and zoom.
Right.
I
right.
didn't realize that there was zero hardware scaling and zoom. It's all done through software on that machine. I never knew that.
Interesting. Yeah. 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 Because like virtual Fighter, I mean that all scales and zooms. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, the Sega CD added scaling and hardware zoom for the Genesis, but the 32X, if
Right.
you look up the specs, there is no scaling or zoom in hardware. It's all software coded. So, I mean, there's a lot of it, like you said, and it works really well. It's really interesting that they didn't put it in there.
Yeah. Someone mentioned in the chat Need for Speed for the 3DO was really good too. You guys need to check that out. if you haven't done so.
Oh, that's the first one. That was the very
First one.
first one. That was great.
Somebody also
And
said,
of course, Road Rash.
somebody also said the Sega CDs. Shelton in Facebook chat said that they also didn't have copy protection on their CDs as well.
Correct.
I think
Correct.
most CD
Because-
platforms back in the day probably did not, right? I mean,
They weren't
Right,
worried
they
about
didn't need it
it.
because remember,
Yeah.
they
look
weren't
at
worried
when
about
these machines were released. When these machines were released, CDRs in the home were way,
Years away,
way,
yeah,
way too much
many years
money.
away.
Right.
You know, it was way expensive.
Right.
So there was no
Right.
worry about it. And then all of a sudden, they came out. Oops. Copies.
Well, something that's really sad is there's a thing called CD rot, right? It's going to happen, and a lot of these CDs are getting rotted. It's getting to a point where you can't play these games anymore. So I
Right.
think it is good. I don't want to endorse piracy by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it is good that people are preserving these games, whether it's through emulation or what have you, because
You're right.
10, 15, 20 years from now, we may not be able to play these CDs anymore, because there's going to
Right.
be CD rot. So
And,
it's something to be aware of.
Well, that's
and John, we were talking about it the other week, like what you have with the
Mm-hmm.
ColecoVision Phoenix. It's an
Right.
FPGA. We just talked about this.
Yep.
As much as we love the original consoles, there is going to come a day. There is where they're not going to work. And emulation is
Right.
software, but with your Phoenix, that's not emulation. That's recreation. You're recreating the
Right.
hardware, and that's I think ultimately the future for our what we like enjoying. It's going to be that.
Right.
well even
Ooh, another good one is Road Rash for the 3DO. Someone just
Oh,
mentioned that
yeah.
too. Mike, shout out to Mike. Yeah, it's another good one.
Love me some Road Rash.
But I do that even
Yeah.
with my Sega Saturn games. I copy them
Mhm.
and I use the burn copy to play rather than destroying that. But I know what you're saying, the CD rot, right? But what about the
Yep.
TurboGrafx? Since you were bringing that up, how you can't back those things up?
Well, you
Right.
can, but I will say, like right here, this is my copy from Japan of Ease 4, and they did something interesting on here. They have one audio track, and then they have a data track, and then more audio tracks. They broke them up in such a way that it's very difficult to copy. But with that being said, it is not impossible.
Well, what about the card? What
how
about the
much-
cards, Glenn? The actual the cue cards that
You
go
can
in.
3D print them. People have
Really?
3D printed them.
You could 3D.
Wow.
print
Oh
them.
yes. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
And
I
then you
didn't
go
know
over
that.
here.
Yeah.
Here is my burned copy, which does work. There is no copy protection on it per se, but this is the original game was only in Japanese text and Japanese speech. So there was no way to play this game in the States until someone did a patch. So it was not easy. You had to go through a lot, but I was able to burn a copy that has English text, and this is a fantastic game, and you got to play this game as well. But you're right. People can 3D print now shells even for the cue cards.
Where do you get the
Very
chips then to go inside of it? Like, I mean, it's not just.
Well, that'll be John and CollectorVision making FPGA cartridges. That'll be
There
coming
you
in
go.
2026.
There you go,
You
John.
guys want to invest?
full
Now sign
circle.
up. We'll start taking investors. Glenn, I was playing. You'd appreciate this. I was playing on the TurboGrafx 16 CD, Rondo of Blood, the Castlevania.
Oh yes,
Love-
great game, and that's on the mini.
Yeah, yeah. But I just love the intro, the German with. I mean, it's so cool. The great Castlevania game, really good game.
In fact, it's still considered the definitive version. Of course, they've had other versions that have surpassed it,
Sure.
but they still say that the NES, the SNES, the Sega Genesis, the TurboGrafx 16 was the definitive, version of Castlevania. Of course, it was a CD, so it had some advantages, but it's a
Yeah.
fantastic game, and thankfully, it is on the mini, so you guys can play it.
Hooray.
Have you guys messed around with any of the MSU? What people are doing with the Super Nintendo games? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Actually, I don't.
Yeah. So people have taken these games and enhanced the audio quality of these games. So they'll take a ROM of the game and they'll increase the audio. So like I'll send you some examples of some video footage, but there's like, let me see if I can send you a YouTube channel link. But you can play like Zelda for the Link of the Past, and there's whole like full video cartoon with audio CD quality. It's like
Ooh.
mind blowing what people are doing with these games. It's really cool.
I want that.
Yeah. Um,
Zelda's my jam. So
yeah, no,
the
it's
fact
it's
that I didn't know
incredible.
that exists.
It's like
that
it
sounds
totally
amazing.
changes the way you look at these games, and it's cool. You can play these games on if you have like a flash card, you can play them on your hardware. Hold on, and it plays through the hardware, which is cool.
Even
So,
better.
yeah.
I'm glad I went and bought the most expensive, rarest systems first, because now I can go back and just pick up Nintendo 64, Super
Oh, you say that, but
Nintendo.
like you haven't really started getting in those really obscure consoles yet. So it's like,
All right,
Well,
where
Glenn,
do
you
you
gotta-
wanna go?
I'm still looking for the Neo
Such a noob,
Geo. I'm
John.
still looking
John
for new.
Steven is such a noob. He doesn't even know. He speaks, does not know.
all right, Glenn, I'm going to send you another link here through Facebook
Great.
Wait,
Messenger.
so
Hold on.
I had some of these consoles growing up, but like the rest of everybody else, we sold them because we didn't know anything.
Yeah, didn't know any better.
Yeah, but
I sold my consoles to upgrade to the next console because I was poor and that was the only way I was going to get the new
There you
console.
go.
So
Yep. Now I hold on to everything.
absolutely.
We'll pull this up,
All
and
right,
then
just send it to you, Glenn.
we're gonna have to wrap the actual show, but then we'll go into post show here. So
Cool.
it's
You should have it,
so
Steve.
once we get it,
It's over there.
I'm gonna pull it up here. Glenn sent it to me here.
So, John, let me ask you something else. Do you have an original working NTEX Adventure Vision? Because that's another Holy Grail console. Do you have one of those in your collection?
I do not. I have my buddy sent me one. I did a video on it. I don't have that. That was an attachment, correct? It was like an attachment to.
No,
was
there
the
was that
system
standalone. It was NTEX of 19. God, was it
Oh
1983?
no, I don't have
It was
that.
a
No, yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, I don't have that. I do not have that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't have that. So this is normal. Turn the audio. Can you do the audio?
We can't pump the audio through.
Okay. Okay.
Not on this.
But you guys can.
But we can
at least
post the link.
visually see.
We could share the link. We could share the link out.
Every time we post audio,
So-
that's why I never wired it up. We get nailed on YouTube.
You can
Yeah.
fast forward it a little bit,
Okay,
maybe.
about there.
Or maybe. Oh no, maybe you did too much.
Oh, too much.
Go back. You gotta do the intro. It's not. I sent you the right link.
Like that.
Go to like. Okay, go to like the 4-minute mark, like the 3-minute mark.
Oh, 3-minute mark. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's the 3-minute, 4-minute mark. Come on, man.
I'm working on it. Calm down.
And keep in mind the audio is incredible too. But yeah, this is what.
So are they
Look at
just
this.
recoding the audio, or are they enhancing the?
No, this
chip
is all
somehow?
new voiceovers, the voice actors, and everything.
Wow.
Look at this.
This would have blown people's minds if it would have been on the original cart.
And this is playing on a Super Nintendo hardware, which is incredible too.
Even more impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty mind blowing. So it's really cool what people are doing.
Yeah. That's dedication for sure.
Right.
Interesting. It's like a little cartoon.
Full of cartoon. It's got anime. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long
And it's
as
not
long
as bad
it's
as
not a
the.
CDI card,
It's not as bad for the CDI. Right. It's not as bad as the CDI versions. The voice acting is much better than the CDI versions. Trust me.
Yeah.
Actually, the CDI versions are so bad, you got to see it because it is
Yeah.
so
It's
bad.
so bad.
You
It's
can't,
good.
you're zoned in on it. You can't get away from.
Well, John, we have to wrap up this portion of the show, the actual podcast / video cast of the show. So, any parting words for everybody? And we really appreciate you jumping on.
It's been amazing being on the show, guys. I appreciate being the guest, and Glenn, I know it took a while to get connected, so I appreciate you guys' patience in that regard. But it's been fun. I hope you guys stay safe, and thanks again for having me. It's been fun.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys go check him out, Gamester81, at on YouTube, his website, and check out the games. He's got some great games there. And also, Doug, we tried today. We really did. But
We did. Support your local Sega Genesis enthusiasts. That's all I can say. There's a lot of people trying to say negative things about it. Smear campaign, 20, 30 years too late. But cooler heads will prevail. Smarter people will know the truth. The truth is out there and all that stuff. But no, thanks for John coming on, and I really hope this COVID-19 stuff kind of clears out for everybody's sake, but mainly for yours, because I know there's a lot of people really looking forward to the Game On Expo. So I really hope that
Thanks, guys.
Zip
Thank you.
move forward.
make
Yeah,
sure
I
you
hope
guys,
get you out to Game On. It'd be fun to have you guys out too.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that'd be cool. Make sure you check him out, youtube.com/cooltoy. And this guy, I hate to even cut over to him, but I'm going to do it. He's over here caressing his TurboGrafx 16 in CD. Glenn, I hope somebody
See,
calls up
John
in
likes you.
post-show. I
John
hope-
likes you.
Hey, I like it too, but Mr. Glenn Planamento, check him out, youtube.com/Glenn's Retro Show. Any update real quick before we have to wrap this on your controller situation, obviously with the COVID? Any word that it's being delayed, deployed anytime soon? I know China's pretty much back to full force.
Yeah, well, first I want to thank John, obviously, for coming on. John, don't worry about it. I was going with him a long time back and forth. He's very busy. I'm just very thankful he spent some time with us today. John, thank you. And as
course.
far as the Yoke controller, right now everything's still on schedule. We're still shooting for
Cool.
July. I just did an update a couple days ago that we've got the new casing design, which is much more accurate to the original Star Wars controller. We've also got the mouse mode working, so you can do an analog joystick mode or a mouse mode that is working very well. And everything so far is going pretty good. Can't complain, other than the people who are complaining about the COVID, and I can't blame them on that one either. I will say again, two things real quick. I got to say two things real quick. One, people, don't think because you feel okay, you can just do whatever you want. Please, if you can stay home, stay home. I work for a hospital system, and I'm telling you right now, it's been crazy. We've got to try and keep it down as best we can. If you can stay home, go buy some CollectorVision games, do a digital download, play on your Switch, whatever you want to do, but please stay home. That's number one. Number two, I'm hoping John, before he leaves, will agree with me that episodes 4, 5, and 6 were great. 1, 2, and 3 were okay, but then 7, 8, and 9 were kind of like sticking a
No.
pin in your eyes.
Don't say nothing, John, until we get to post show, because that's.
Yeah.
Listen, guys.
That's a whole other thing.
Listen, we're gonna hold that. We're gonna make sure John doesn't say anything until post show, because look, you want to hear the response. You got to be here for the show, and be there for post show. We're gonna have a bunch of people call in. Glenn, anything else that you have before?
Just honestly, all joking aside, please be safe. Please be conscious. Keep 6 feet away from people if you can. If you have a mask, use it. If you do have to go out, just because someone looks fine, they still could be a carrier and infect someone else that you know and love. And this stuff is dangerous. People may say it's like the flu. It is not. It is much worse than the flu. Please be careful.
Yes.
Sure.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we'll see you next week for more of the Retro Buzz. You can check everything out on the web. Go subscribe to the podcast everywhere your favorite podcast is at, both audio and video. And we'll see you next week. All right, back in post show, and so Glenn and John can get on their rant. Guys, I put the link in there to call in. You guys can call in. I'm still working. Hopefully, maybe in 2 weeks. That's right. Next week there is no show. I almost forgot. Next week is Good Friday, so there's no show next week. The following Friday we'll be back. By that time, I hope to have at least a month trial of. I'm working with a company that's going to allow phone calls. And we could take up to, I think they said 8 phone calls at one time on top of the 4. On top of the 5 people that we already have. So, but we can
A lot
have
of talking heads.
Yeah, well, no, this is just audio. This will
Talking
be
heads
them,
and voices. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be calling in. So people will have to wait in the queue.
John has some other engagements. So he may not be able to stay on too long. So if you don't want to call in,
I'm good. I'm
okay
good. I'm sure okay. Yeah, my wife is home, fortunately, so she's watching the kiddos. So thank you.
Okay.
I'm good.
Just want to make sure that we get the Star Wars truth going.
So
Yeah, and I'll
while we
stick
wait,
around.
while we wait for people to call in, why don't you go ahead on to your rant, Glenn, and let him know why you're ranting about
Yeah, let me hear
this.
the argument. Let me hear your argument there.
It's so many. I'll try to remember now. Just for me.
Here, wait,
personally,
I'll start him.
just for me personally.
You got to like the new trilogy. You like Rey. You like Kylo Ren.
No. Not only did I not like them, all they did was steal from the original series, copy it poorly, and made a cash grab now. That's what they basically did.
yeah.
I'm going to start. But John, give me your opinion about the three separate trilogies. You have the original trilogy,
Okay.
the prequel, and then the Abominations.
So my favorite, first and foremost, my favorite Star Wars movies is The Empire Strikes Back. That's far none my favorite. Will always be my favorite. Is that you, Glenn, too? No? What's your favorite?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're on the same page. Empire, and it's funny. It's interesting because as I'm saying home my kids now, we're actually going through. They're 6 and they've never really seen Star Wars before. So I'm finally showing them all these movies, and I kind of went back and forth. Do I show them in order that they were released, or do I show them in order of progression when they should have been? So what I end up doing is showing them like episodes. We start with episode 1, and now we just wrapped up episode 4 last night. Tonight we're watching Empire Strikes Back, and every night we're kind of watching a new one. And then I'm going to show them the 2 spin-offs at the end. I'll show them like Rogue One and what's the other one? Solo. After I'm done with the original 9. But my least favorite is episode 2. Least favorite. Like I prefer like the Star Wars Holiday Special over that. I'll prefer the two Ewok movies. Like those are better than episode 2. You know, like,
really
I'm not a fan. Huh?
Like I don't know. I
was watching last week with my boys, and even my kids were like, "What is this?" Because like the love story, the one-liners in that are terrible. I mean, there's some saving. Like I think the Yoda lightsaber scene was cool, but like anything outside that, like I don't know. It was just George Lucas does not write love stories very well, and the one-liners were just terrible in that. As far as my thoughts about the new movies,
he's got great ideas, but him writing and directing is not his thing.
Dialogue is not his thing.
Yeah.
True.
As far as the new ones, I mean, I agree. I think Force Awakens was a rehash of Episode 4. You know, it was pretty much a carbon copy in many sets of the ways. I didn't mind Episode 9 as much, though. I'll be honest. I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was the media loved Episode 8 so much. They said it was the best thing, like one of the better Star Wars. And the fans, you look at the feedback, like Rotten Tomatoes, they did not like Episode 8. You know, and there are parts of that movie that were okay, but there was parts that were just not great either. I wouldn't say it's as bad as Episode 2. What's that?
The beginning through the end part.
The beginning through the end. Well, yeah, it was weird how they killed off Snoke and just the whole thing. Like they kind of pretty much threw everything out the window in that movie. But I thought they did an okay job wrapping everything up in Episode 9, to be honest. So my favorite of the new ones is Rogue One.
I agree, Rogue One, but I think 9 they just tried because Episode 8 was such a that they had to squish so minutes into 9.
Yeah,
it just worked. Kathleen Kennedy, thank you, appreciate it.
You look at the Rotten Tomatoes though on Episode 9, and the media was giving really hard reviews, yet the fans seem to enjoy it. So I felt like they kind of went polar opposite of Episode 8. They were kind of gun shy about giving it good, strong reviews. So I don't know. Rogue One was not bad, and Solo wasn't too bad, to be honest. I didn't mind Solo as much.
Here's the thing for me, and again, you're a big Star Wars guy. You've followed for a long time. I've seen the original trilogy more times than it's probably Adams on the beach. I mean, I've just seen it that many times. The prequels, I can sit down once in a while. If it's on TV, I'll watch it. Any one of these new ones, I've seen them once. Right. 7, 8, 9, once. And 8, I can't even remember much. I think I've actually blacked it out like almost like a mental rape. It was just that bad. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to show you something. I got to show you guys something. You guys will appreciate this. I'll be right back. Give me a second, all right?
And he says the sandpaper thing was, was over top.
Added mental rape to my vocabulary.
But here's Glenn. Like my kids,
yes.
My kids we saw all the new ones, 8, 9, and 10 or whatever. I guess that's the new ones, right? And they don't like to sit and watch The Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One, or any of those. They can't do it. But they'll sit and watch the other ones. They like BB-8. They like, all the new ones. So I like them both. I thought
Okay.
they were both good.
Do you guys remember this?
Yes, C-3PO.
Cereal.
Oh, it's cereal.
Yeah, that's
Cereal.
the original box.
Wow, C-3POs.
Still got the food in it.
Oh man, that's,
Those were the days.
yeah. I was about to say Chewbacca mask on the back. You cut out.
Yeah, there's
where-
Chewbacca mask. And I got this too. I don't know if you guys remember these. I'm dating myself. I don't know how old you guys are, but you guys remember this?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
I had them when I was a kid.
Wait. Are those original, like you bought and put on the shelf, or you kind of got them like eBay later on? How'd you get?
The C-3PO ones are original, man. My brother had it.
Oh wow, and
Wow.
you never
We just
opened
never
it.
opened it. Let's see when the
Okay.
expiration date is on it. It was $1.66 back in the day, and February 21st, 1985.
1985.
Yeah.
Doug, you weren't born yet, were you, Doug?
I was born in '84. My parents were probably shoving those in my face instead of like actual decent food. They're just
there's so
like,
many-
here, eat some num-nums.
There's so many preservatives in these things. I bet you they're still edible, but I'm not going to open it. And
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
Donkey
titled
Kong
not-
cereal. Do you guys remember that? It was like a ripoff of Captain
Oh
Crunch.
yeah, Donkey Kong cereal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Still
Yeah, I
made the roof of your
remember
mouth bleed.
or Zelda cereal.
Yep.
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 Had that.
Nintendo was it Nintendo cereal? What were they called?
Oh
There's
yeah,
a Nintendo
yeah.
one too, right?
The
Entertainment
Nintendo
cereal?
one.
Had like, yep. Had
Yeah.
like Captain N and all the other characters with
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
Captain N, the
Yep.
Game Master.
The first season was great, and then again it became like Star Wars 7, 8, 9. Just went
Oh,
downhill
here
after
we
that.
go.
Season 2 was
Yeah.
bad.
Wow.
So you talked about you have a massive Star Wars supersedes, but
I
surpasses
do.
your actual gaming collection. Like, is there certain collectibles that you narrow in on? Are you just happy to kind of collect all of Star Wars, or is there certain?
Yeah, no.
parts
So
of the-
yeah, I mean, I'd be broke if I collected all of Star Wars, right? So there's
Yeah.
so much out there. But my older brother and I, we were big into the vintage figures, right?
Mhm.
So we have all the original vintage figures. We're missing some weapons and things like that, but I say maybe have like maybe 20 of them that are still like on card back, where majority of my
Ooh.
retro figures or vintage figures are loose.
Mhm.
I've got one on my desk here in front of me. This is probably you probably recognize this guy.
Hey.
Yeah, Yak Face. Pretty rare figure there, but yeah. So I have, and then I'm big into like Gentle Giant. Does these 12-inch reproduction?
Yeah,
Have you seen these?
Yeah,
Those are
they're
cool.
12-inch versions of the actual vintage figures. They're just blown up
Yeah.
and supersized. They even come out on classic cardback, don't they?
Yeah. So most of those I have are still in the card back, and I have the whole collection of that so far. And I've got every Kenner / Hasbro 3 3/4-inch figure from basically 95 when they first came out with the
Power of the Force.
Power of the Force line, yeah,
Mhm.
to present pretty much. I'm probably only missing about maybe 20 to 30 figures.
Wow. And you still have them on
Wow.
cardback, or do you open them up and let them breathe? Or
I keep them on card back. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Oh.
one addiction of mine. I open up all the toys and collectibles I own, except for Star
Yeah.
Wars things on vintage cardbacks, because I love the way it looks, and I can't bring myself to tear them open.
Right. Oh, my kid is coming in for sure.
So
Cameo.
what's your most prized Star Wars collectible that you have? What's the one you value the most?
I have. Oh, this is kind of cool. I went to Star Wars Celebration years ago and got this like customizable. This is me,
The Han
like on.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you can tell the face there, but that's kind of unique. Probably my favorite Star Wars item I have, honestly, is probably my Star Wars arcade, the Atari one I was talking about earlier, or my Star Wars pinball. I have Data East Pinball Star Wars. That's pretty cool. As far as figures go, I have a C-3PO droid, that droid lines from like 1984. That's on a card back, so that's pretty hard to find. So, and I have a 12-back C-3PO, pretty good condition.
Ooh, very cool.
Yeah. So, yeah.
See, these
How about you guys?
nothing's cheap. None of these
What's that?
hobbies are cheap. None of these hobbies are cheap.
They're not cheap hobbies. Yeah, it's expensive.
Oh, your wife might be listening. These hobbies are cheap. They're not expensive
Very,
hobbies at all.
very affordable.
Wives,
Very
a
reasonable.
lot of my Star Wars collection right now, honestly, is in storage, unfortunately, because I've only got basically my wife gave me ultimatum. You either have to have your games, video games in storage, or your toys. And right now, my toys are in storage until I find more space. So
Hey, at least she
That's it.
gave you an option. She didn't tell you you had to get rid of it all, or you
Right.
know,
it's true.
me,
Well, it came
That's
home
true.
me
from
or the
work,
toys
and
of the
empty
games or
room,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
like our parents did. You went away for vacation. You came home from vacation. Where's all my stuff?
Yeah,
Right.
really.
No, my mom did that with my He-Man collection. I'm still bitter about it. I had a whole bunch of He-Man
Oh,
figures, and I had Castle Grayskull. I had all the cool figures, and my mom just gave them away. She didn't even like garage sale them. She just gave them away. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? But Doug, what's your figure that kind of stands out to you in your collection?
As far as personal favorites, or just
Not both. I mean, what's probably the most valuable, or personal favorites, or whatever?
personal favorite, it's kind of Star Wars related, but it's not really. Similar to your Han Solo and Carbonite, I've got a custom one-off 3 figure that was made by a company that does a face scan. You
Cool.
pick some random character, so I think I threw mine on like a blue Snaggletooth body, but it's my face scan on a blue Snaggletooth on a vintage
That's
card
awesome.
pack. You can get whatever you put on there as far as like character bio and things like that. So that's probably one of my favorite things. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, it seems like that are kind of sentimental, and for me, it's like going out for the hunt for finding these figures in the wild. I prefer to find them in the wild opposed to like buying them on eBay or whatever. Because I can remember, I can point at a figure like I picked up 20 years ago, and I can tell you the story how I found that figure. So to me, it's as much going out for the hunt. Unfortunately, Hasbro's distribution has been so terrible the last 5, 6, 7 years. It's hard to find anything in the wild. It's atrocious, So it's really bad.
Plus,
as you're probably aware.
Yeah, and it's just like video games. People realize that there's a secondary market for things, so in comes the scalpers and the people that buy up everything, and it maybe just hit store shelves, and you think distribution is terrible, but then lo and behold, you look on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, and hey, there's some guy 10 miles away that's selling 6 of them for $150 a pop or something like that, and you're like, God damn.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the second part of the any kind of collecting is, like I just said, people now realize that a Star Wars or a vintage video game. Oh, this Legend of Zelda game. Oh, that's $1,000. You want it? No, it's not worth $1,000. It's not.
Right.
So some fool buys it for $1,000, sure, but some people get that way. It's like I want $500 for this. It's a Donkey Kong cartridge for the NES. It's not worth $500.
Right. Or it's got Mario's face on it, so it's got to be worth money, right? Because it's a Mario game.
Oh, absolutely. It's rare.
It's like the worst. It's the worst. I agree. Yeah, it is frustrating.
Okay, so speaking of what you just talked about, then, what was your most just out of the blue find? Just where'd you find something? Oh my God, I can't believe I just found this. And how much you want for it? And what was your biggest aha moment for that?
Well, in terms of Star Wars or video games or both?
Anything. Just something you were out somewhere and said, oh my God, this guy does not know what he has.
Yeah. So I was at maybe, I don't know, 8 years ago, I was at a Goodwill, and 99.9% of the time, I don't find anything at Goodwill. It's like around here in Phoenix, it's just junk,
Same
right?
here,
To be honest, it's very rare you find anything. But I was happened to be at a Goodwill, and I found Pokemon Red Game Boy sealed, like perfect edition. And I want to say I paid like less than $10 for it. It was really cheap. And I was looking to see if they had resealed it or not, but they hadn't, because you could tell with the H seal, whatever they had on the back, the way the Nintendo would seal the Game Boy games back then. But to find a complete in-box Game Boy game, because a lot of people just threw those boxes away, is one thing, but to find it sealed, and not only that, but Pokemon Red, which is like one of the first Pokemon game, the first Pokemon game, like it was like I couldn't believe it. It was a steal. So
that's good.
And people donate. I'm like, what's the story behind that? Like, why would someone just donate that? It was probably a mom, right? Like, who was like,
Thanks,
you're gonna
Mom.
get your game collection and just throw it in a box, and here you go, Goodwill, and had no idea what the value of this thing was.
Yeah, poor little Timmy. That was his birthday present. His report card came back, and it was not good. So Mom donated the game.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we got Angel. I don't know if we got audio, but Angel, you there? No, we got no audio from you, buddy.
I agree with John and Glenn. The TurboGrafx is the best.
There you go. There you go.
I can't make this up, people. This is what we're getting from our guests. I can't make this stuff up.
Just wait, Glenn.
I love that hat.
Yeah, man, I dig that.
Anything with classic Atari was it. It's just really the Atari post, Nolan Bushnell. That's when it started going down.
Can
Even
you hear me?
Gotcha.
Hey,
yep, there we
Yeah,
go.
now we can hear you.
All right, good. What's going on?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Nothing much. It's like glitchy. It's slow over here. I don't know. I got too much shit over.
It'll do that.
Well, if you do, be sparing on the toilet paper. There's a shortage if you don't know.
No, there's not a shortage. There's a shortage of smart people that are buying a lot of toilet paper for
Correct.
no need.
People don't realize the association with COVID-19 and toilet paper doesn't exist. It's just irrational spending.
I think people think that you poop more maybe with COVID-19. I don't know. Maybe that's
Yeah.
that's why people are picking it up. But
So the
Well,
other
they said the
What's
side
going
effect
on?
is diarrhea. How
yeah,
is toilet paper going to clean diarrhea?
right.
so
That's
Glenn,
the same effect you have when your mom throws away your game collection. You have the same problem.
here's one for
That's
you,
right.
Glenn. Yesterday, the other day, my cat jumped up where all my loose action figures are staged
Uh-oh.
of the Star Wars, knocked them over, and all the Darth Vader stuff that I have behind me that I know you can't really see off that camera, but I had a Darth Vader mug, and the cat knocked it off and smashed it into
Oh.
a million pieces.
No.
That's
no.
exactly what I was like. No.
Doug did it.
And it did everything.
No.
Everything it took. My wife was like, "Don't kill the cat." I'm like, "I'm gonna kill the cat. I'm gonna kill the cat."
Where's the
See,
nearest Chinese
these are
restaurant?
moments when you.
Well, I bought a new one. It should be delivered like now from Amazon because I was
They
like,
bought a new
"I like
cat.
that."
That's good.
No, not a
Fine,
cat.
okay, that works.
The mug. The mug. I was
2-day
like,
shipping
really?
on that cat. That's impressive.
I've had that thing, and I'm like, never had it. I went through 2 kids, never had that problem. But the dumb cat
Yep.
and another cat, never had the problem
Yeah,
with
I
our
had-
first
I had
cat.
the problem. I have a brother, so my son, no problem. My brother, not so much.
Really?
Full on a china shop.
Oh, geez.
Yep, he's not allowed down. He's not allowed down in the Glen studio. Let's just put it that way.
Mm.
Walk-
You ever see that video? You ever see the video with this huge warehouse that's like thousands of boxes? The guy's driving a forklift.
Yeah.
And you touch it one corner, and the whole thing goes like down and collapses. I'd give my brother in here. Yeah, so he's not allowed here. Can't come in.
That's funny.
That's
Now,
It's
John,
moments
I'm
like
looking
these.
at the back of your chair. It looks like in the back of your chair, right behind your head. Is that like a Cobra logo from like G.I. Joe? It's what it looks like to me, anyway.
No,
guys see
it
that?
kind of
Does
looks
it
like that, doesn't it? Yeah, it does look like that. It's a gaming chair. It's there's a company out here locally called E Gaming. They make a whole bunch of cool gaming product, and I purchased this gaming chair from them. So it does look like that, doesn't it?
Very
See,
sweet.
It's
see,
super
when
comfortable.
you are Game Straight 81, that's the chair you got. When you're Glenn's Retro Show, this
Yeah,
is the
stool.
chair you get.
Hey,
Nice.
I mean,
Have
it
you seen
wouldn't be
those
brand
one-up
if you had a nice
stools?
swanky new chair.
The one-up stools are kind of cool, Glenn. Have you seen those?
I do, but I have to admit, I'm kind of a cheap side. I think they're a little on the higher end of the monetary spending to get one of
Yeah.
those stools.
What do they cost? Like, what they go for? I got one for Christmas.
$79.99.
There you
much?
go.
$79.99 is the retail.
Yeah, that's steep. That's steep.
That's a little
Yeah.
too much.
What's
I
your
can't
guys'
think
thoughts
you're
on?
sitting
What's your guys' thoughts about
Go
the
ahead.
cocktail tables that they're doing?
I always I don't own one, and I've always wanted a cocktail. So I'll definitely stick my teeth into one of those at some point.
I bought one this week.
Did you
What'd
really?
you get? You got
Oh, you do?
Fighter
What'd
one,
you get? The Street
Yeah.
Fighter? Which one did you get?
Yeah, I got the Street Fighter one. I'm
Yeah,
a
nice.
Street Fighter dad. That's what I grew up. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
was able to get that cocktail cabinet for $250 this week, and
Nice.
I couldn't say no. So
I-
that's what
I saw
I'm playing
Costco.
with.
Costco was having them on sale too. I saw.
Really?
So
That's cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
it's on
Nice
sale
find,
on
man.
Amazon right now. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and gonna tinker
It's-
with it a little bit, of course, but it's pretty impressive. Actually,
I-
when they first announced these, I was like, that's kind of hokey. And then I actually got to play it
Right.
and experience it firsthand at E3, and it won me over. And ever since then, I've been keeping my eye on it, kind of waiting for the price to come down a little bit, and
Yeah.
pulled the trigger.
Is
I
it the
picked
black
up
edition?
for my.
No, I got the regular retail version.
I kind of like the regular version better, to be honest with you. It looks better, I think, with the gray. I mean,
I
that's
saw
my
the-
personal
I
opinion.
saw the black edition when I was at Arcade One Up's headquarters, and I saw them side by side. The black one to me just drew me in. And as you guys know,
Yeah.
I'm an awesome, Street Fighter connoisseur. So it's my kind of game. So
Yeah.
Is the black version bigger than the actual?
No.
So they didn't even
No.
increase the size even after people said, like, I'm 6'2".
No.
There ain't no way I'm sitting at one of them little cocktail tables.
No, but you could do something like
Furniture
um,
legs.
Yeah.
exactly.
okay.
Like Unqualified Critics, he put some legs under it. And it looks really nice.
I
the way he
thought
did it.
about
Yeah.
getting one as a coffee table to put over on the side where the consoles are and just set things on it and not necessarily play it. Maybe the kids would play it, but that's
So-
Now, Doug,
expensive
does it have
coffee
like a
table.
glass? Does it have a plexiglass layer? I mean, or does it not?
I believe
It's got
does.
a thicker plexiglass layer, so it's I didn't have a millimeter measurement, but it's probably three times thicker than the normal plastic overlay that goes on the control panels for the arcade one up.
Okay.
So
Okay. Nice.
you've got
Definitely
you got
buy-
the Star Wars one,
Definitely
don't you?
buy some Novus plastic cleaner though. You're gonna need that for that thing.
Oh, really?
But so
Novus
far,
plastic polish.
yeah, I've thrown a bunch of stuff on it. It hasn't scratched and gouged or
Okay,
anything.
that's
And
good.
it showed up
How
in
many
great
games you have?
condition. 12.
12 games, nice.
I think
Yeah.
I think the bigger
Yeah.
question is, what did your wife say after the Burger Time cabinet showed up a couple weeks ago, and now a cocktail cabinet shows up? What did your wife say?
She goes, "Where are you gonna put it?" I was like, "Don't you worry about that."
Typical wife
Honey,
response.
honey,
That's a me
we're getting rid
problem,
of
not
your
a you
coffee
problem.
table.
Yeah.
Right.
Honey, your coffee
Yeah.
table just holds coffee. My coffee
Hey.
table holds that plus games.
See, I would
Yeah,
put it like
we
a
have
Yeah.
a strict rule where like my stuff can't ever spill into the downstairs, so I have to contain it between my theater room here and then like another spare bedroom that was just dubbed the dog room because literally all it had was just dog beds because we have a 5-bedroom house, but it's literally just me and my wife. We don't have kids, so we have the room. She just doesn't like me taking it. She wanted it for whatever project she wanted to do.
Maybe like
That's awesome.
guest.
yeah,
Well,
guess.
we have a spare bedroom for dedicated for guests, so we don't have people friends coming over sleeping on top of arcades. So we're civilized in that aspect. She has a sewing room, so I mean everyone's happy. Everyone's
Do you not
everyone's
do you not fear the weight of everything maybe coming down one day?
no, that's the perks of these things being light. I mean, this cocktail cabinet weighs like 60 pounds. You know, my Street
Right.
Fighter
That's
2
the thing I do
full-size
like about
arcade.
these. Yeah, the normal one would weigh like 150 pounds. Normal cocktail, 100 pounds maybe.
Mhm.
But
Right.
yeah, I picked up for my kids for Christmas. They wanted an arcade. I picked them up the Turtles 4-player
Nice.
one up arcade, and
Yeah, it's a good one.
it's a good one. Yeah, the only thing about these machines I don't like are it's like IKEA furniture. It's a pain in the ass to put together, and but once you get beyond that,
Oh,
they're really
You know
cool.
what,
and,
John? You gotta have like 12 of them. Then you go
Yeah.
together like that. Once you want to get your first,
Yeah.
get
You
like
don't even
10 or
need-
12. Then they're quick.
Once you get to number 5, you don't even need the instructions anymore. You just
That's
throw them
true.
away and you just start putting everything together.
I
yeah,
will tell you one perk of the cocktail cabinet is the stupid brackets on the arcade one up where you attach it to the monitor to the side panel that everybody hates because everything else is going together really quick and then you run into that. You don't have to do it on the cocktail cabinet. The screen
Nice.
is built into that top
That's
layer.
Nice.
You just set it on top.
You know what
You
they
don't have to
need to
mess with that at
do?
all.
They need to make a screen protector for the cocktail cabinet, or wrap plastic around it or something. Because if you do use it as a coffee table, you're gonna scratch the living daylights
No,
out of that.
like I said, it's got a very thick layer of plastic
thick.
overlay.
Yeah, but you're gonna scratch the
yeah,
overlay.
that's good.
Oh, well,
Right.
don't throw.
I think that
No.
I don't know. Your keys
Those
on
two
there
go
with
to
the
the
downward
rescue.
port.
It's okay.
Well, you know
There
what
was a
people
pro- there
do.
was
I
a-
mean, just saying.
That's
So,
true.
John, you said you
Yes.
have 2 6-year-olds right now, right? Are they twins?
Correct. Twins. Yeah,
Twin boys, twin girls?
twin boys.
Okay, so they'll be into the Star Wars thing. They're going to be into the gaming thing. So you're going to be prepared for them to go, Dad, start taking your
Yeah,
stuff,
so-
or
I'm just now getting them into Star Wars. I mean, I've read them stories, and they have their room is all decked out in Star Wars, so they know all the characters, of course, and all that. But up until I don't know if you guys have kids or not, but I couldn't get them to watch Star Wars because their attention span is like this when they're like 5 or 4 or 3. So they're now at the age where they can sit through and enjoy it and actually pay attention, which is cool. But yeah, as far as games go, the first system they ever played was an NES. So I didn't get them into the Switch or any modern consoles until much later.
it's probably better that way, I think, anyway. Start with the classics.
Yeah.
That's always been my motto.
Raise them right.
Yeah.
So what's
Right.
their favorite game then right now? What is the one they enjoy the most?
Man, you know, they've been playing Mario Odyssey like nonstop, and it's a great game. I don't know if you guys have played Mario Odyssey for the Switch,
Oh yeah.
but it's a
Oh,
really
I love that.
fun game, and it's probably honestly one of my. I was thinking the other day, I'm like, what are my favorite Mario games? Because there's a ton out there, right? But Odyssey would be up there on the top 5 for me, as far as better
Yeah.
Mario games. My favorite is still like Mario 3 is still my favorite personally, but yeah, I mean they've been playing that. They play Donkey Kong, like the original Donkey Kong, quite a bit. My arcade. The Pokemon Sword they've been playing on the Switch as well. So nice little mix.
Yeah, very well rounded.
Yeah.
Do you like the
So-
remake of the Zelda?
Say again?
The Link's Awakening. Did you like that for the Switch?
Yeah. They did. They haven't played that. But I did like their. They have not played that yet, to be honest.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that one.
Oh.
I know the graphics.
Oh, they've also been
Sure.
playing Pokemon Go quite a bit on my phone. So
Still going strong. Nice.
No,
Yeah,
no Fortnite yet, right?
no Fortnite. They keep asking about it. No Fortnite yet.
You just
They
tell them
know
it's
all the
canceled.
dance moves. They know all the
Yeah.
dance moves. They can do the floss and all that. But
Yeah.
I'm protecting them from that.
My son made me go out and buy the Fortnite version of the Xbox One when I told him I was getting the Xbox One. He's like, "You gotta get the Fortnite edition." I played it for like
Right.
20 minutes. He's like telling me where to go and do all the stuff. I'm like, this is like a cross between like Black Ops and Minecraft.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me, but he loves it. He plays it all the time.
They play Minecraft, and I don't get it. Like I don't
Mhm.
understand how to play, and like I just they dig right into it, jump right into it. But I've never gotten into Minecraft. I'm like,
A-
so what are
and
you supposed to do?
what about Roblox? My kids play that too. Minecraft, Roblox.
Oh, yeah, they've seen videos on that, and that's the thing. They'll watch like YouTube, and they'll watch a bunch of videos, and
Yep.
it's fine for one video. But then what YouTube does is they like recommend another video, and all of a sudden like they're watching GTA videos. I'm like, how do you go from like
That escalated quickly.
it escalates really quickly? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my son has been into Minecraft since God, I can't even remember when. He's probably been 5, but he's 14 now.
right,
He's got
Okay.
his own server. He does some amazing things with it. I agree with you. I don't get it.
cool.
It's like
Yeah.
virtual Legos, I guess.
There's worse games you can play, I guess, right? I mean, it's a gets them to think, and so it's cool.
Hey, John, I
I get
think
it.
your web camera just bit the bullet.
It did.
Oh, I thought he was going retro. I thought.
Yeah.
His
Think
mind
Try-
was
try to read-
lower pixel count.
there it's back.
Oh,
You're
there
back.
you go.
You're back.
Hey.
His mind was
There you go.
blown. Did you see it? It kind of
Is
went
It was.
mind blown. You'll see that. No,
Well,
my
another. Okay, I'm sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
no, no. I
I
was
talk
just
a lot.
no. You're fine. I was just gonna say about the Minecraft. My son goes, "Well, Dad, you like all the pixel games. Why don't you want to play Minecraft?" I'm like, "Cause it's stupid. There's no point. Like I don't get
Yeah.
it."
There isn't.
Right.
It's
It was a good try
creative.
on
I mean,
his
if you're
part, though.
building
He-
something,
he
it's
tried to
one
make a
thing. I mean,
connection.
I see people do that, but
Mhm.
I agree.
Number one
was just
indie
gonna
game of all time. Minecraft,
Is it
right? Because it
Minecraft?
started
Is
off
that
as an indie game. Now, yeah,
Mhm.
and now it's billions of dollar franchise, right? It's
Oh
a
my
$1 billion.
goodness.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, Microsoft's got its claws in.
hmm
So I was going to ask you, John, how do you feel about, or did you pre-order the Atari VCS? How do you feel about that one?
I have not pre-ordered that. I have not pre-ordered
Smart man.
I did not pre-order the Intellivision either, the upcoming one. So, but no, it's interesting. I mean, we'll see. I'll wait till it comes out to probably pick it up if it does come out.
Right.
I was about to say, what are your expectations reasonably, percentage wise? How likely do you think this VCS is to actually see the light of day? Let's say in the next 365 days, in the next year.
In the next year,
Mhm.
probably, especially with what's going on with COVID and just the Chinese production has probably been hold, and it probably won't come out next year. I wouldn't think. It's hard to say. So
When was
I don't
that
know.
new Blade Runner taking place? The new Blade Runner. What year was that supposed
20
to be?
2049.
There we go. We'll see it in
There you go.
2049. That's when it'll come out.
Yeah, Yeah.
I want to know when they're actually going to update the shipping for the TurboGrafx Mini. I keep checking back here just to see.
Still
Since
says December last time I looked. Yeah.
Come on,
yeah. I
Doug.
heard
Somebody
like after
somebody
holidays. No.
somebody posted a picture of one and it looks pretty big. I like it. It's like a
yeah,
combination of two minis.
I got one right
Two
here, man.
minis.
They just want you watch the show. Angel, I got one right here. This is the minis right here.
You know,
That ain't the mini.
somebody offered me. They watched the show. They messaged me and they said, "Hey, 40 games, 40 TurboGrafx 16 cards in box, not the cardboard box, but the actual
Oh.
box,
The case.
the case.
The
Okay,
case, yeah.
plus I think there was 6 TurboGrafx CDs plus the TurboGrafx 16 CD. He doesn't know if it works, but $1,200.
Oh,
And
That's still a little high, bro.
I know, and I said to him,
So
as bad as I'd
those would all
love to
have
do
to be
that.
like gold titles for sure.
Well, there's
And I
like
will tell you now, Steven, with the CD, there is a small, insignificant gear that locks. It literally fails.
really.
So these CD-ROMs
Mhm.
die because of that. And I replaced it. You can even 3D print one. I replaced it. But what a PIA times 5 to do it. So if you don't know this thing works or has that gear replaced, I would
Yeah.
steer clear from it.
Well,
Because
that's
if we
why
pay something
like the
else for that
Jaguar
kind of
CD.
money, yeah, it's just way too much.
I told her with the way the COVID is right now. I told him, and I said my wife would shoot me if I dropped $1,200 just on these. And
Right.
I get it. They're expensive out there, and to a collector, if they were in box, like I have a Bonk's Adventure that's in box, like it's unwrapped, but it's original. It's got the original
Yes,
box.
we've heard you've got an. Yeah, we've heard. This
Yeah.
before. We know you got
My
the thing
point
and the
is
deal.
that would be the only way I could see spending $1,200 though with that, right? You're not gonna
Reasonably, yeah.
think
Yeah,
right.
but
yeah.
why spend
And
$200 to open it?
Right.
and to be honest, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be, if I am, someone will shout me out on this one.
It's only money.
The PC Engine CD-ROM would work on the TurboGrafx as long as you have the interface. The drives are not different; it's just the way they interface into the system. So there's also that thing I showed you before from that something Onion. I keep forgetting the name of it, where they manufacture a device that clips on the back that lets you load the ISOs of the CDs. So if that's $300, if I was going to do something $1,200,
Yeah.
that's I would just go for that device and just go that route.
Well, I have the cart that you recommended, the little card that you put the SD card. That's coming. It's shipped UK.
Oh, the flash cart, yeah.
Yeah, Ukraine post, but it still says that it's.
Wait, you're getting it from the Ukraine?
Yes.
It's being
Yeah,
like
he's getting it from the developer.
Oh, okay.
John, you know who this is. Crits.
Yeah, it's crits. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Right.
That's good. It's a good unit for sure.
So
Yeah,
the
flash
the
cart.
last
Yeah,
track
He makes the best.
the last track was on the 29th of March. That said it was being sent to the destination country. So it made it through customs and
Right.
everything like that. So I'm hoping
good.
sometime
Might be
this
slowed.
week.
It
Yeah.
could be slowed down with COVID. Who knows?
Or it could be
So,
Cliff
Steve-
Clavin. It just depends who it is, the mail carrier. You never know.
So, Steve, when you get your mini, are you gonna play the mini more or the original?
I don't know because I want to compare it because I know with the Sega Genesis, I was telling Glenn, I finally understand what everybody's saying about emulation because I've had all emulated systems since I got out of college, right? Because I got rid of all my originals. Playing Sonic on the
Right.
original Sega Genesis versus playing it on like the At Games, back when they made
Sega
the
Flashback.
Sega Mini. Yeah, well, the Sega Mini
Mhm.
where you can put the cartridge in and
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot more shimmering in Sonic on the At Games versus when he's moving fast through Sega Genesis. Like you can actually see it. Like, does it bother me? No, but I can understand why purists are like, you got to have the original hardware, and that's
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and that's what I want to compare with this card, right? Putting the ISOs on that, playing it on regular hardware, the ROMs on regular hardware versus playing the TurboGrafx Mini that's completely emulated from the ground up to see if there's any difference. And that might
It will be because those carts. It's not emulation. It's playing on the hardware.
so it would actually play like a regular cart if I put
It would be.
even with the ISO ROMs.
Correct. Oh, the ISO ROMs. Yeah, the CD ROMs. I don't know, but I can tell you, like when you play like ROMs on a flash cart,
Yeah.
through the hardware, it's going to play like the hardware.
Oh,
It just reads
sweet.
the ROM like.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Right. Right. All that flash card is doing is just it being a temporary storage for the file. So it's taking the files, loading into RAM, and tricking the hardware, the Sega Genesis, thinking that the flash RAM is the ROM.
Yeah.
There's no
Mm-hmm.
emulation as far as that goes. Now with the ISOs, usually they use an FPGA a lot of times, or like that Onion device for the TurboGrafx 16. And they actually make one. I'm sorry, they do make one for the Sega. It's also like $300 to $400. It's a lot of money. So it's, again, using an FPGA, which means they are recreating the chipset of the Sega CD. So theoretically, it should be no different from an actual CD versus that. But if there is an issue, if there is a glitch, they update the firmware of the FPGA, and that's it. So in a perfect world, an FPGA would be completely indistinguishable from the original hardware if it's programmed right. Where emulation will never, no matter how good it is, be the same. There's always going to be a lag somewhere. It's got to decompile the code. It's got to change the registers. It's got to do something different. So that's the difference between FPGA and emulation.
Well,
FPGA is literally recreating the hardware.
Maybe I could just take the TurboGrafx Mini, get a cheap arcade 1-up, throw it inside there, and make a TurboGrafx arcade.
There you go.
There you go.
Somebody's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll
Why
make
not?
you the
Why not
marquee.
it be you? There you go. Angel's got a marquee for you.
There we go. I'll find an Asteroid
right.
one and put it in there, and maybe put the controllers on the control panel, have it come up inside of the.
Can you still find those asteroid cabinets? I thought those went.
I don't know,
I
but
got
that's
two.
actually what this one was here. This was an NES. It's called an NES Pro Play Arcade. So this was sold at Toys R Us in 1990, and it was designed to connect your NES directly into that machine. That's what it was designed for. And I modified the controls on there. I could plug in my TurboGrafx, my Sega Genesis, my Amiga back in the day. So do it, man. It wouldn't hurt. Build one up, throw one in there.
I just gotta wait till everything opens back up, because the malls had it for like $75, different places. So.
I got like 2 of them still brand new in the garage.
Angel went and cleaned house.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to do with it. At one time I had 4, but I got rid of 2 of them.
Would you buy 4
John,
Asteroid ones?
I'm sorry.
That-
John, I got one other question. With your wife and your collections that you have, is she a gamer at all? Does she play any of these, or she is completely out of
she's
your
not a
your
gamer.
zone?
She's out of the loop, but she's supportive. I mean, she's.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm very fortunate, very lucky. She's very supportive, especially with Game on Expo. Super supportive. So I'm very
Does
blessed.
she go with you
but
to
she's
those?
not a gamer. Yeah, and she helps
Does
out.
she go-
She
she
volunteers,
does.
and yeah, she helps a lot. So it's great. Very blessed.
Wonderful.
So when is
So,
it?
okay, so I need one of those. I'm putting this out there right now. I need one of those, which John's got down below. I need you to find me one of those. Okay.
She got a sister, John.
Thank you.
Say again?
She got a sister for Glenn.
Right?
Sister,
Her
cousin,
sister's like
genetic
300
relative. You
pounds,
got
I'll be
something along
honest
the
with you.
lines?
Her sister is kind of like she's a nut job, to be honest. But
That's what he
super nice.
needs.
I shouldn't say that, but
Sounds like right up my
Yeah.
alley.
Yeah.
no, her sister's nice. I shouldn't say that, but yeah, she's got some interesting things going on.
There you go, Glenn.
What woman?
So when is the
not?
next?
No
expo?
offense.
When is the next expo? It's August 7th through 9th.
I
So
say we go,
hopefully we'll
guys.
be okay.
There we go. Road
Say
trip.
again?
I would love to go. I
Road trip.
know it's
Yeah.
a big deal out there, but I think
Mhm.
P Dubs is close, so maybe we shouldn't go. I don't know. P Dubs might be.
He might crop dust you.
I want to see if is P Dubs in the chat room. I want to see if he says, "What are you talking about?"
He was
He
there.
was earlier. He may have ducked out.
Yeah, he.
Yeah.
So I
so-
mean, so the last show you had over 10,000 people. Would you expect this year, assuming everything works out okay, because of what's going on right now, would it be about that big? Or do you think it's going to now, if it does happen, be less just because of people's minds, what's going on?
He's there.
It's going to be interesting. So
I
either
saw.
I see this as either doing really well or just blown up in my face, to be honest with you. Because the past month, like obviously ticket sales have pretty much stopped, right? Understandably.
Right.
Because people don't want to buy tickets because there's uncertainty as far as is it going to happen or not? What's going on? So that's understand. So I've done what I could to cut my costs because I still have expenses on my end. So it's a little bit nerve wracking. So it depends on when really this clears up. Because if this clears up in like end of May, then that'll give me 2 months to promote the event. Whereas like normally I'd be working on it for like 6 months. So it's gonna be kind of like with all these other shows being postponed or canceled, it could be to Game on Expo benefit, but maybe people could be shy and maybe not want to go out. So I don't know,
Right.
to be honest.
So what you need
Just
to do, if
depends.
it's still on, you need to get in touch with Glenn, myself, or Doug, and get back on the show so we can help promote it.
Okay.
so that way you
Thank
can
you.
get
Word out.
a nice get the word out. Come on the show here again, and you know,
Appreciate that. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna do like as much as I can. I'm gonna give away free passes. I'll do like contests and do what
Sure.
I can to like get the word out there for the show because you know it's not cheap running these events either because there's a lot of costs, which is nerve wracking.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm sure these guys. I'm not going to speak for them, but we'd even probably do some content. We could do like recorded videos
Oh,
or something,
absolutely.
promote it.
Sure,
Help you
absolutely.
okay,
out.
and I'll give you guys passes to give away, and of course you guys are welcome to come out to the show. I'll hook you guys up, and it'd be cool. But yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, any way we can get. I mean, we were doing that with Richie Knuckles. And as a matter of fact, guys, don't forget this weekend he's doing that auction.
Yes, Sunday.
Sunday. So don't forget if you want more of the memorabilia that some of you guys got and paid for last week. So hopefully he sends that stuff out too. That'll look really cool back there with the stuff. But yeah, let's get on board and help these. That was one of the reasons we not only started doing the show to talk about the cool stuff, but also to help further this retro community.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know,
Great.
for
Yeah, it's
everybody.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah.
nervous. I don't want to be the first guinea pig show back. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
I think
Yeah. And that's
I'm hoping
because
that
everybody's going to
maybe
be looking all eyes on you, you know, to see is it
Right.
successful? Did he have
Right.
any issues? Did the people show up? Yeah.
right, you know. So hopefully, you know, if sports comes back, right, if people start going to games and people start going to movies again, hopefully
Mhm.
that will start loosening up
Yeah.
some people's anxiety a little bit. You know, we'll see. I don't know. A lot of it's just
Yeah.
based on timing because we just don't know.
Because one of the remember that Coleco had a expo a little
Yeah.
further back, and I think
I
like
remember
5
talking to
people.
Chris about that. Yeah, it was
It
brutal.
was like no one.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, I have nightmares. I still, even every year, I have nightmares of putting all this work on the show and no one shows up to the show. You know, so it just that would pain me for sure.
Well, that's
Not only financially, but just emotionally.
that's kind of like people boycott it though too, because just like I Doug's gonna hate me for this, but even like WrestleMania is this weekend, right? I'm not gonna
Yeah.
watch it. I think it's the worst that they've even kept it going now with no crowd, and it's a
Agreed.
joke
Yeah.
right now. Like
Yeah.
if anybody follows wrestling, it's stupid. Like they should just
Oh,
They
yeah.
should at least put some CGI people in the, in the
you know
stands.
that actually
Well,
wouldn't
just
be a bad
cardboard
idea.
Just postpone it. Yeah. Cardboard cutouts, like the old video game.
Yeah.
Well, Doug will tell
Right.
you
I mean,
Five
make
digital
it look
characters
like
do
it
this.
was. Exactly.
It's like I understand it's fake when they comes out, but these guys are so muscle trained when they come out. They're like this to the crowd, and it's like there's nobody there.
Oh, it's yeah,
You
it's
know what I'm
super
saying?
hard to
So
Very
it's
hard on those guys. Yeah.
yeah, so it's hard to watch it because like if they slam them and you're expecting the crowd to boo them or whatever, nothing
Mhm.
happens. Like it's nothing.
Right.
So
Right.
Well,
Well, for them, it can almost be like when they're just doing their training. I mean, they train. I assume there's not too many people out there, so they're
Right.
probably in the same mindset. Okay, there's no one here. It's not a big deal.
I
But for us
know
watching,
no,
watching, it's completely different.
I couldn't watch basketball, baseball, or anything without the fans. I mean, Doug, I mean, you agree
part
with
of
that?
that, yeah. Part of that is the
Oh,
experience.
I can watch golf. I can watch golf and tennis that way.
I said a real
It's true.
sport.
Real sports.
Sorry, golfers. I'm just kidding.
But no, that's
He's
definitely
really not.
a major drawback is, you know, these sporting events and these big spectacles without fans that they're saying, hey, you know, the show must go on. And all honestly, I don't think it should in some certain aspects, WrestleMania specifically, because it just a lot of what the essence of those shows and spectacles is the fan interaction, the fan involvement. Like WrestleMania,
Right.
famous for having like one of the largest live audiences of all time, filling the Pontiac Silverdome, you know, just being this massive, massive live spectacle. And then now we're going to have less than 10 people in a room, camera guys included. And there's no amount of fire, pyro, lasers, you know, cool stuff that you could put on the screen that's going to keep somebody in the edge of their seat, having these athletes trying to tell a story
Right.
with their bodies and all this stuff without the crowd involvement. I mean, it's weird. It's just Twilight Zone like stuff.
They do it for TV ratings, so they're hoping people are going to tune in and watch. So I mean,
Oh,
that's
they're
why
hoping.
doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but they're doing
And I
it
get
even-
it. I mean,
They're doing it over 2 days.
yeah, they already. No, it's not even live too. They
It's-
pre-recorded it.
It's
That's the
already
crazy
done.
thing.
Oh,
It's,
really?
It's already recorded,
Yeah.
done. In fact, they did say that they were going to cancel everything from here on out from WWE after April, even the live or the TV tapings because they're seeing the same thing we're all seeing. I haven't watched wrestling probably in the last 2 months, just because. I mean, I watch it with my son. We like to watch it, but
Right.
it's just I just can't do it. I
Mhm.
couldn't watch sport. I couldn't watch football like that. It's just I don't know. It's the whole norm. Just like this,
And
it'd be hard to do this without interaction from people. I mean, we
oh,
do it.
absolutely.
Sure.
But right.
And
It's
another thing
flatline.
is like even when things do come back, like there's still going to be that negative connotation, stigma. Like
What if I get it?
people will be, yeah, what if I get it? Or people will be slightly judgmental, saying, because the first couple of whatever events that come up and start up, people are going to look at them kind of with a side eye, going, "Well, this guy's jumping the gun. Should have waited longer." But at the end of the day, somebody's got to be the first. And that's
Right.
where John kind of spoke to that guinea pig situation. It's not ideal, but sometimes you just
I
got
think
to bite the bullet.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be hard to even look at people when they sneeze or cough or
Right.
or
Oh yeah, we're in the middle of allergy
Right.
season. Like this is
Uh-huh.
when people are
Yep.
typically having itchy
Yeah.
eyes and sneezing and coughing regularly, and now you're
Right.
looking at them like, you better get away from me.
That's why I keep telling people
Mhm.
I take Zyrtec. I'm taking one every day. I have it in my
Yeah.
bag. I carry it because I get allergies really bad, and we just started grass season. So guess what?
Yeah, mowing the yard.
I don't
yeah.
have the coronavirus. I'm fine. It's all good. It's all good.
John, another question for you, John,
Yeah.
real quick, because you do have many hats. You got obviously you're married, you got a family, you do have the gamings, you have your collections, you have the YouTube channels. Out of all of them, what do you find is the most, I guess the one I'm looking for, that you enjoy the most, and which one's the most work?
past your family
Because
though.
you might enjoy something, it's a lot of work.
That's
but
a
hey,
double-
well, yeah,
that's a
like, the one I enjoy
double-ended
the most is my
question.
family, for sure. I mean, that's a good call on that. Most work,
that'll keep you in the bedroom tonight. That's good.
yeah, no doubt. Most work would probably be Game on Expo, to be honest with you. That's just a lot of work. Just put financially, I mean, the first year I put everything on credit cards, right? So, because that's the scariest part is first year.
That was a huge
Trying to get
risk. You put
vendors.
everything on your card. You
Yep,
put everything on your
yep.
credit card for that first one?
Say again?
Damn.
Yeah, it was all my
That's it.
credit cards.
So
I
the
maxed
first
out all
one on yours. That's
I maxed
Were
out
you
all my
married
credit
then?
cards. I was, yeah, yeah,
wow.
and I'm still married, so surprisingly. But
Testament to the Lord.
plus, I got lucky and I was able to pay off that debt. So right now, we're good. Like 2 years ago, when we expand, when you move venues, like going from Mesa to Phoenix, not only the costs get involved, but you just a lot more expenditures and everything else. So 2 years ago, we lost some pretty significant money, but last year we made enough to pay down our offered debt and keep some in the bank. So I was hoping this year would be like the first year I actually can pull a dime out of the show. We'll see if that happens. I don't know. My expectations are changing this year as we get closer. I would just like to not lose my shirt at this point. I just want to put a good show together and hopefully break even. It'd be a blessing. So given what's going on.
So what was it that attracted you about starting your own show?
Right.
That's a good question. I've been to a lot, right? I mean, was invited as a guest for years. I went to the Midwest Gaming Classic and, Portland Retro Gaming Expo for years, and they're great shows. And there really wasn't anything like gaming in Phoenix where I live, right? And Phoenix is like the 5th most populous city in the country. It's huge. There's like 4 or 5 million people live here. It's very spread out. People are from everywhere else, and so there's a really strong gaming community here. Just talking to people, going to local game stores, and so I just wanted to kind of put that together. But I didn't want to copy and paste what Portland's doing with the retro thing and Midwest Gaming Classic. They're very heavy into arcade, so I wanted a little bit of everything. Like I was saying before, I wanted the esport element. I wanted the arcades. I wanted we even have a really significant tabletop D&D and Magic and Pokemon and all that at Game on Expo as well. So a little something for everyone.
Very cool.
I'm still amazed that you took that kind of personal expense. That was a huge risk to do it.
Absolutely.
So your
Huge
heart was definitely behind it.
Yeah, roll the dice.
Yeah. Go big or go home. Now, I think my YouTube channel definitely helped a lot, just with my following and just getting the word out for the show. So couldn't have done it without that for sure. I just, my philosophy is really make the vendors happy and the attendees happy, right? Because when the vendors are happy, the attendees are happy because they're spending money and et cetera back and forth. So
Right.
to me, it's all about the experience, and I'm in here for the long haul. I don't make a dime off Game on Expo at this point. So
Well,
Do it. You
Well,
do it. You do it for the passion of it, and that's
Mhm.
you know
That's right.
that means a lot
Right.
because you're going to put a lot more heart into it that way than just making a cash grab.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hear
Well-
that, Disney? Hear that, Disney?
Here we
It's better
go,
when you like
Kathleen-
it, Disney.
Kathleen
Don't
Kelly.
make a cash grab. Kathleen Kennedy, come on, cash
Yeah.
grab.
I don't think she can hear you. She's still cashing those checks. Just-
Yeah.
Oh,
really.
she's watching. She's watching.
Watch it.
We're gonna wrap up, guys. We got to give John back his Friday night, and I got to get some
Mhm.
dinner. I'm like dying here. So we appreciate everybody coming out here. Give you a good 2 solid hours here of the Retro Buzz. Remember, next week we will not be around. We'll be back for the fall. Who do we got the following week? I ask you all the time. You probably don't know.
You do, and you know what? I actually looked well ahead for it. I said next week
Hey!
I'm gonna know, and that was an hour ago, so I forgot already. So hold on. A second.
I bet you I know who it is. I think it's Patton Plays. That's who I think it is.
Ah, that is correct.
Is it really? Woohoo!
it is.
I'm good.
Nailed it.
Pat, know what Pat's gonna be playing? TurboGrafx 16 Mini. Just saying.
There you go.
Duh. Here we go.
Guys, thank you again
John,
for having me. I
I-
really appreciate your time. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No,
The
thank
honor
you
was
so
ours,
much.
John. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
no,
for
no.
spending
All
some
right.
time with us tonight, away from your
Appreciate
family.
Of course. Be safe, guys. Okay.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Take care.
Take
Hey,
care.
Guys, we're going to
Bye.
go dark. We'll see you next time.